Broadcast, but they're undefeated at 5-0. Behind them, Elkins Elks, they're a game and a half behind technically, just because they had a COVID cancellation, but also 2-0 and undefeated in conference play. Then you see number 1 and number 2, who are in 3 and 4 right now, in the Shiloh Saints and the Prairie Grove Tigers, both with undefeated conference records, but a loss in non-conference competition.
Yeah, and there's a few teams you really expect to be knocking on the door of the conference playoffs when it comes to the end of it. Prairie Grove and Shiloh, 2 of them, we'll see them, I think, jump up a little bit. But yeah, Gentry has had an impressive start. I mean, they're looking for a winning season. It'd be their second winning season in three years, I believe. And it's a really impressive conference start so far. We'll see if they can carry that into tonight.
And we'll look at the rest of the standings. Now, top 5 teams in Arkansas in the 4A will advance to postseason competition. Right now, it is a logjam between the Huntsville Eagles, these Green Forest Tigers getting ready to take the field behind us here on homecoming night. You also have the Gravette Lions, who we saw earlier in the year on Southern Sports Network. We'll see them again when they come back to Tigers Stadium in a couple weeks. And also the Berryville Bobcats, the rival of the Green Forest Tigers, right down the road west of here, all trying to vie for that last spot into the playoffs.
Yeah, and with 2 games, you're only 2 games into the playoffs so far, or into the season so far right now for conference. If Green Forest can come in here and get a win and beat Gentry, that playoff bracket starts to sort of flip on its head, and it gets very interesting as we go into the home stretch towards late October and November.
Yeah, and we were talking about this before we got on air. Whoever at the Arkansas Activities Association that's in charge of putting together the conference schedules must have it out for the Green Forest Tigers as they play Prairie Grove, Shiloh, Gentry, and Elkins to open conference play here in the 4A1. Not an easy road to manage just to start out the season.
It is really nothing but a brutal start for Green Forest, but I guess you can take the positives out of that. Beyond to that, or this evening and next week, you should really know what your team's made of. And if you can come out with a win against those 4 teams that are expected to be vying for a playoff spot, you're really going to know what you have on your sideline. And, the schedule, I won't say becomes easier, but becomes more favorable, and your team will be more battle-tested down the road. So, you could turn that into a positive almost.
Well, we will step away momentarily. When we come back here on the Todd's Coffee Roastery pregame show on the Southern Sports Network, we'll talk some team stats, quarterback comparison, and more after these messages.
This broadcast of the Southern Sports Network is brought to you by Native Ink, providing custom products from athletic apparel, embroidery, and merchandising. Contact Native Ink at nativeinkpromos.com or at 918-693-1806.
My name's Todd Harden, and I am Todd's Coffee. The reason I do this to begin with is because I really want people to experience coffee. What I'm doing and what other roasters are doing as well is, we're trying to figure out what the bean is trying to tell us. My goal and my customer really is there's probably 2 out of 10 people that could taste the difference in one of my better roasts versus an average roast. If I can make those people happy, I'm making everybody happy. And so that's kind of my philosophy when it comes to roasting. You can just go to toddscoffee.com. You can get it whole bean, or I'll grind it for you. Either way, there'll be a drop down in there that you can order it that way. So order some coffee.
Hey, Dean Blandino here. And guess what? Football season is right around the corner. And to watch the best live broadcasts in high school sports in Northeast Oklahoma, download the Southern Sports Network app. And check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I just did. Give them a like. It's the best broadcast in high school sports, and not just that area, in the country. Check them out.
The College of Business and Technology at Northeastern State University is where education meets industry. Our in-demand undergraduate and graduate programs have real-world focus with practical workforce applications. Choose from degrees in accounting, marketing, supply chain management, information systems, healthcare administration, data analytics, and more. Lead with experience from Northeastern State University.
Well, welcome back to the Cod's Coffee Roastery pregame show here on the Southern Sports Network. Apologize for the technical difficulties there at the start of the broadcast. I'm Stephen Blackston. Alongside me once again is Cannon Poor. We're here in beautiful Green Forest, Arkansas, here at Tiger Stadium with everybody getting ready. It's homecoming night. It's a great night out. But the first thing we want to take a look at here, Cannon, is, once again, the score from last week for the Green Forest Tigers had the defending state champions coming in to Tiger Stadium, and, well, it kind of went the way that you anticipate.
Yeah, Shiloh at this level is a powerhouse to be reckoned with in the 4A, so not really much you can take away from that one, 58-12 blowout. The good news is, as we talked about a little earlier, the most brutal part of their schedule they're in right now. So if they can get through this week against Gentry and against Elkins next week, it really opens up down the home stretch for a chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, and definitely, and we talked about it as it's a bit of a gusty night here. We talked about it. Gentry, the Pioneers, as we take a look at their score here in a second, have had a phenomenal start to the season. I think Coach Bigham and the Pioneers didn't necessarily, they expected to do well, but I don't think maybe necessarily this well. As last week they went 21-15 against Berryville. Now, granted, Berryville did score 15 unanswered points in the second half.
Yeah, Berryville scored 15 unanswered, like you just said. I mean, the most important thing is they scored enough in the first half to win, and their defense did just enough. But I think you'll take it anyway. Once you get to conference season, it's do or die time, and they've really done a good job against Huntsville and Berryville, two teams that they should be beating and did beat. So.
Yeah, and, as we take a look at the Gentry schedule, they've played Berryville, they've played Huntsville, they've played Green Forest tonight. They're getting, kind of the lower tier out of the way here in the conference, but it'll be interesting to see, because after this game, they get Shiloh. They get Shiloh at home in Pioneer Stadium, and they're going to find out how good they really are.
I do think they're going to really find out what their team's made of tonight. It could be sort of a trap game. Maybe they're looking ahead to next week. But anytime you have a team like that coming into your home stadium, you really want to win. And we'll know a lot more about Gentry come next week, but tonight as well.
Yeah, definitely tonight we'll see. A 6-0 start looks a heck of a lot better than a 5-1 and 2-1 in conference play. Green Forest, their schedule is going to definitely lighten out a lot as we get past this week of conference competition with the Pioneers in town. They get Elkins, definitely also a tough out. A playoff team last year, lost I think to Nashville in the second round of the playoffs. So a contender year in and year out. But after that, you have to like your odds if you can navigate these next couple games to try and get that 5 spot.
Yeah, and we talked about it a lot off air and on the way to the game today. If Green Forest can somehow pull off one of the next two against either Gentry or Elkins, you have to really like your spot going in, trying to battle for that 5th or even 4th playoff spot. And that really should ultimately be the goal. This team has the talent. This team has the capability to be battling for that 5th playoff spot.
Yeah, and we were talking about it on the way over here. This Green Forest Tiger team has had incredible momentum from last year. Now, the scores might not reflect it the last couple of weeks when you play Shiloh and you play Prairie Grove, two of the best teams in the league. But, they win the last game of the regular season against their hated rivals, Berryville. They opt into the playoffs, first playoff game that Green Forest has had in quite some time, and come within a yard of tying the football game up, fumble it down near the goal line. And then come into the season, I was talking with Coach Tibbett last week. They play a Cedarville team where defense doesn't give up any points. It's just all self-inflicted wounds there. They beat West Fork. There is some positivity brewing here in Green Forest.
Yeah, you can really sort of feel the culture shift, and really, the locker room feels like it's getting there. You mentioned the momentum from last year. Obviously, that hurts in the immediate, but as you get farther away, you say, okay, we're a team that probably shouldn't have been there last year, and we were this close to playing with the big dogs. I think that playoff game really helps their momentum coming into this season, and they have a good chance to build upon a season last year and really sort of take that next step into where they want their program to be.
Well, we will step away here on the Todd's Coffee Roastery pregame show on the Southern Sports Network. More when we return.
Today's game is brought to you in part by Todd's Coffee Roastery, creating flavors for the most sophisticated palates to the everyday coffee drinker. Contact Todd's Coffee Roastery at toddscoffee.com and use promo code SSN25 to receive a 25% off discount on your order.
A tradition of educational excellence, more than a century in the making, continues in Broken Arrow. Here, supportive faculty, in-demand undergraduate and graduate degrees, and affordable tuition make Northeastern State University your transfer destination. finish what you started.
Well, welcome back to Tiger Stadium. He's Cannon Poor. I'm Stephen Blackiston here on the Southern Sports Network. We're about 10 minutes away from kickoff here in this 4A1 conference competition here tonight. Again, we talked about this earlier. I think we were having some technical difficulties, but we'll take another look at the conference standings here for the 4A1. It is very interesting. The Pioneers are off to a great start this season and wanting to get even higher up the rankings. A win tonight will clinch their another winning season, first one for head coach Justin Bigham in his second year, second in 2 of the last 3 years as well.
Yeah, very impressive start to his reign as head coach. I mean, anytime you can get a winning season in something as competitive as the 4A, it's a very impressive feat. Gentry really going to be there at the end of the season, and we're going to find out next week how good they are, but they look like a team that could be there at the end of the season in December.
Yeah, and from looking at those other standings, you saw Elkins in second spot. They're 2-0 in conference, lost 1 game in non-con. I do some COVID issues with Mansfield and things like that. But you see Shiloh, you see Prairie Grove. They're in 3rd and 4th. They're still definitely well within position to make the playoffs. That 5th spot, though, is definitely going to be one to keep an eye on. We have Gravette, Huntsville, Green Forest, Berryville, all just trying to rally to get into that last spot and try to make it into the playoffs.
Yeah, it really makes it an exciting run at the end of October and in November, because you're going to have about 4 or 5 teams vying for one spot, and really 2 spots could be open if Green Forest can pull the upset tonight. But the 4A really shaping up to be a fun end of the season with the playoff spots.
Well, while we have a second here on the pregame show, let's take a look at the team stats between both of these sides. Now, Cannon, looking at these numbers, we're going to see a little bit of a difference of philosophies, I think, on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah, Gentry really going to run sort of a pistol offense. They're also going to incorporate some spread style into it. You're looking at Green Forest, a team that's wanting to incorporate some RPO, but is mostly going to be a ground and pound game. So we're going to see a really good contrast of style here tonight, and really 2 very different offensive philosophies.
Yeah, and I think for Gentry it helps having a 6'4" big tight end coming across the middle of the formation in the passing game.
Anytime you can have a tight end that is the size of a college Division I tight end, it really helps. He's got great sure hands, and he's a great pass catcher.
Yeah, and also kind of looking at what the defense have done for both sides, Gentry has had some low-scoring affairs. They've had some games that they've let teams get close, get into the mid-20s. What do you anticipate seeing here tonight for the Pioneers?
Well, Gentry's defense is something it's interesting to look at, because Green Forest we know is going to try and run the ball. Do they stack the box and almost dare Green Forest to have to throw the ball over the middle, or do they play a standard style defense and just rush a few? I'm really interested to see what sort of looks we get coming out early, and depending on what we see early, it could be some halftime adjustments. But I think if you attack Green Forest early and make them try and throw the ball, you're going to have a very good night if you're Gentry.
Now, conversely, on the other side, what does Green Forest need to do offensively, defensively, to come away here and hand the Pioneers their first loss of the season?
Well, we've seen Gentry's offense can be electric at times. There's no doubt about that. Green Forest secondary really needs to be solid tonight. If you can cover the pass just to a decent extent, you should be okay. Your secondary has to be sure, and you have to have enough pass rush.
Well, of course, both of these offenses are going to be run through the quarterbacks tonight. Quarterback, a great important position for both of these sides, for both these offenses that are trying to get something going.
Yeah, two quarterbacks, 2 very different styles. With Gentry, you have more of a passer in your quarterback, and with Green Forest, you have more of a game manager. Both of which are fine. If they can execute their game plan, they should both be all right. And we should have a very fun one on tap for tonight with 2 very different offensive styles.
Yeah, well, we will see what we have on offer. Both of these quarterbacks should do a great job. Both these teams should also do a great job. It is conference action for playoff positioning here on the Southern Sports Network. Here on the Todd's Coffee Roastery pregame show, we will step away.
My name's Todd Harden, and I am Todd's Coffee. The reason I do this to begin with is because I really want people to experience coffee. What I'm doing and what other roasters are doing as well is, we're trying to figure out what the bean is trying to tell us. My goal and my customer really is, there's probably 2 out of 10 people that could taste the difference in one of my better roasts versus an average roast. If I can make those people happy, I'm making everybody happy. And so that's kind of my philosophy when it comes to roasting. You can just go to toddscoffee.com. You can get it whole bean, or I'll grind it for you. Either way, there'll be a drop down in there that you can order it that way. So order some coffee.
The College of Business and Technology at Northeastern State University is where education meets industry. Our in-demand undergraduate and graduate programs have real-world focus with practical workforce applications. Choose from degrees in accounting, marketing, supply chain management, information systems, healthcare administration, data analytics, and more. Lead with experience from Northeastern State University.
At NWA Getaways Dream Vacations, our goal is to relieve our clients of the vacation planning stress, as well as ensure that they get the best value for their investment. We love making suggestions that take their vacations from what they request to a level beyond their dreams. Our perfect client is that busy professional who wants to relax with friends and family, but doesn't want the stress of planning for it. I'm Debbie Corwin with NWA Getaways Dream Vacations, where we make your dream vacation a reality.
Well, welcome back here to Tiger Stadium in Green Forest, Arkansas, here in Carroll County in northwest Arkansas. I'm Stephen Blackson, alongside me, Cannon Port, here on the Southern Sports Network, Todd's Coffee Roastery pregame show. Real quick, well, we got about 4.5 minutes before kickoff. I'll run through you some of the 4A1 games here once you get your picks on here. Up first, we'll have Elkins traveling up to the other Carroll County school, the Berryville Bobcats, tonight.
Well, Berryville, we saw what they could do against Gentry last week, 15 unanswered. Their defense played lights out in the second half. Elkins, we expect to be a playoff team. I'm going to go with Elkins.
All right, quick and to the point. Well, the win number one for Brian Hudson at the Hudson era of the Berryville Bobcats will not come tonight. He's playing his old team. We never know. That team played well last week.
It could have a vendetta. It could happen, but I like Elkins in that one.
Well, we'll go to our second game. The Huntsville Eagles are going to have the visiting Gravette Lions coming into town. Gravette yet to win on the season. We saw them earlier in the year. Both teams have yet to win in conference play.
Yeah, Gravette, we saw week 0 or week 1, whichever one you want to call it, against Vian. Not a whole lot went right for them. They've been better since. I still like Huntsville, which is another fringe playoff team, to win, I would say comfortably. Gravette going in the right direction, but Huntsville to win that tonight.
All right, well, he picks the Eagles to get win number one. That's a big pick. Lots of positioning for playoffs coming up down the road. Now, the marquee game of the week here in the 4A1, the Shiloh Christian Saints have Prairie Grove and the Tigers on tap. A couple of undefeated in conference plays. Both have one loss in the season. Who gets loss number 2 here this week?
See, Shiloh is the king of the crop in this conference, and Prairie Grove is probably the next best challenger. To be the best, you have to beat the best. Stephen, am I going with the upset? No, Shiloh's going to pull that one out. I like their chances to run back to the 4A title, and that sort of starts tonight with Prairie Grove, and then down the stretch toward the playoffs. But I like Shiloh to win that one.
Well, old man Danny Absher at Prairie Grove might have a word for you there, might have something up his sleeve. We'll have to see. But that will do it for the Todd's Coffee Roastery pregame show. The teams are just about ready to come out here on the field. He's Cannon Port. I'm Stephen Blankiston. You'll see us in a minute on the call of the game.
Today's game is brought to you in part by T-Lake Apparel Company, specializing in sport uniforms and accessories, custom orders to fit your needs and budget. From youth leagues to professional sports, call T-Lake at 580-977-6452. And by Champion Custom Jewelry, trusted company that can provide quality at a great look to fit your budget. Trust Champion Custom Jewelry. Contact them at 580-977-6452 or on Facebook at Champion Custom Jewelry.
The College of Liberal Arts at Northeastern State University is innovative, engaging, life-changing, empowering. Choose from undergraduate and graduate degrees in the arts and fine arts, languages, criminal justice, social work, and more. Be inspired at Northeastern State University.
Hey, Dean Blandino here. And guess what? Football season is right around the corner. And to watch the best live broadcasts in high school sports in Northeast Oklahoma, download the Southern Sports Network app. And check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I just did. Give them a like. It's the best broadcast in high school sports, and not just that area, in the country. Check them out.
A tradition of educational excellence, more than a century in the making, continues in Broken Arrow. Here, supportive faculty, in-demand undergraduate and graduate degrees, and affordable tuition make Northeastern State University your transfer destination. Finish what you started.
My name's Todd Harden, and I am Todd's Coffee. The reason I do this to begin with is because I really want people to experience coffee. What I'm doing and what other roasters are doing as well is, we're trying to figure out what the bean is trying to tell us. My goal and my customer really is, there's probably 2 out of 10 people that could taste the difference in one of my better roasts versus an average roast. If I can make those people happy, I'm making everybody happy. And so that's kind of my philosophy when it comes to roasting. You can just go to toddscoffee.com. You can get it whole bean, or I'll grind it for you. Either way, there'll be a drop down in there that you can order it that way. So order some coffee.
We are computer science pros, chemists and lab technicians, health professionals, mathematicians, and science educators. We are the Greg Wadley College of Science and Health Professions at Northeastern State University. Choose from degrees in natural sciences, health and pre-health professions, mathematics and computer science, and more. Discover the possibilities at Northeastern State University.
Hi, Peyton Hillis here for Ozark Sports Supply and Casual Clothing. I've scored for the Hogs and for the NFL, but now my whole family has scored big finding this amazing store. Ozark Sportsman has everything a sportsman wants. The best firearm selection and gun safe choices anywhere in Northwest Arkansas. And a 15-lane indoor range and so much more. Ozark Outpost Clothing has all the hot boutique brands for women. And hey guys, our favorite brands also. Score big savings on top brands and follow me to Ozark Sports Supply and Casual Clothing.
seems like the technical difficulties were not done with us tonight, Ken. It looks like we had some issues, but I believe we're back live on the action on the Southern Sports Network app. As will be end around here for Green Forest. This play worked really well, and will work well again. Flag going to come in. I'd imagine this might be a face mask down there, as that's going to be a rush by Isaac Merida on first down and 10.
Yeah, just another little bit of motion there. You have a running back and you bring your wide receiver in, and an impressive little rush there, and it's going to get even better here with a face mask call. Tack another few yards onto that, and Green Forest is off and running on this drive. Wouldn't say it's a do or die, but with how slow Green Forest is, or methodical we'll call it, on offense, you kind of have to feel like this drive you need to put something up on the board. Whether it's a field goal or a touchdown, you need to probably get on the board here because this might be your last possession before halftime.
Well, going the wrong way there are the Tigers. Good stop there on first down and 10 for the Pioneer defense, as Freddie Juarez Jr. trying to get something going again. Saw that play earlier in the game just a few possessions ago, and unsuccessful there this time for Greg Tibbett and the Green Forest offense. And
now in these plays where you get, I would slightly off schedule, where do you go? Do you abandon the run game and try and pass to get back on schedule, or do you keep, with the run game here?
Oh, be a pass here, Cannon. Wobbler, and that one intended for number 10, Trevor Stark, but nearly ended up being intercepted on the overthrow there by Braden Warren, the junior there for the Pioneers, nearly got his hands on one.
So with Fraga there, it looked like that's sort of his range. He's more of a mobile quarterback, a game manager, and that's stretching his range. But the farther you get out of your range, the more inaccurate you are. And very lucky if you're Green Forest to not turn the ball over there.
Third down and 14, 7:44 to go in the first half. As this time Fraga just going to take it himself, picks up back inside the sticks, first down and more into Pioneer territory once again. As Dawson Rayburn there to make a stopper. That one could have been 6 more points and make this a ball game once more.
And when Fraga lacks in his arm talent, he makes up for tenfold with his running abilities. He's just a quick little quarterback. And that look from the Green Forest offense, they gave him just enough time. It looked like a pass look. Just gave Isaiah enough time to grab the edge and get enough for that first down. Very impressive offensive play there.
Just a handoff here on first down and 10 is looked like Barrett Phillips' as cleats came out from underneath him there. Couldn't get set on that first down and 10 rush.
And it's a bit early, but with how methodical they are on offense, you might want to wonder if Green Forest is going to try and milk some of this clock and maybe try not to give Gentry the ball back. We've seen Gentry can score quickly and often, and maybe your best defense of your Green Forest is your offense.
Well, again, handing it off here for Barrett Phillips, and looks like he'll lose another yard, make this third down and 13. As we near 6.5 to go in the second quarter, excuse me.
And if you're Green Forest's offense right now, you've got to start thinking about, first and second down play calls, because you can obviously Gentry is not fooled by any of this. You're in third down and long for the second straight, sequence. You need to start drawing up plays to get maybe Fraga out of the pocket and try and bring your pass game into it.
Well, they will pass here. Fraga just going to hit in the flats. Great turn and run there. First down and more for the Tigers. Down near the red zone. That'll be Joel Salgado. Great throw out there. Great catch. And even better run there for the Tigers as they extend the drive.
And if you see here, Fraga, the best part about his game is that, he's so mobile. He's hard to pin down, and if he can run around just long enough, he's going to find one of his receivers. He found Salgado there, and a nice first down pickup on another third and long. A very impressive look from this Green Forest Tigers offense.
Screen out to the big target there on the edge inside the red zone. Finally now, as Freddie Juarez Jr. will stumble forward, pick up a positive play there.
He's been really active in the run game, Juarez, with the end arounds, but that's the first pass we've seen him catch He's got a big frame and he's very fast. So look to see him, get a few more targets here, and maybe he's your go-to in the red zone when you get down there, as we are in the red zone.
Well, Tigers again in the pistol. This time handoff for Barrett Phillips. He'll get near that first down marker. We'll see if they give it to him. As Tigers really starting to put together the drive here. Last time out when they had the football, they had some positive momentum, but this time they are really moving it down the field.
The Tigers are giving Gentry a little bit of their medicine here. We saw Gentry really sort of mix in a few passes here and there to keep them honest. Now we've seen Green Forest, with a few different looks, quarterback rollouts trying to keep the defense guessing. And so far it's working. You've got a defense that looks a little bit confused, and you're gaining solid chunks of yardage every play.
Well, if I've ever seen a run formation, this is one here. Cannon full house. As this time they'll hand off again to Barrett Phillips. Barrett fighting. He'll pick up a first down and more. Still on his feet. Great push from the offensive line of the Tigers. Gets these fans into an uproar.
And that is an impressive run there from Barrett Phillips, the lead back of this offense. But here's what's impressive about this. He should have been stopped here and here and here and even there, and he still fought for another few yards. He just kept his legs chopping, and maybe that's the little shot of adrenaline this Tigers offense needs to get, to punch it into the red zone. An impressive run from Phillips.
Well, the Tigers can smell blood here, trying to get in the end zone. Barrett Phillips trying to find a hole, cuts it back, fighting, diving down to the 1 or so yard line. Bring up second down and goal. I believe that's actually the 3 yard line will be where they spot him nearing the 4-minute mark as the Tigers trying to answer here.
He's got every making of a solid back, Phillips. He's tough, he's strong, but he's a disciplined runner, and you saw it on that run right there. He waited for his line to create something and hit the hole. Now it's going to be interesting to see if they go back to him and just punch it in for 6.
Well, Tigers taking their time here. Play clock will go down under 15. And again, just a handoff. Nothing there into the teeth of the Pioneer defense, but here comes the push once again. Now down to the, I believe, 1.5. Go with the Tigers as offensive line not giving up on the running back.
I really like so far, this is going to be out of left field. I like this refereeing crew just sort of letting the play develop, not blowing their whistle dead too quickly. You see that a lot at the college level and the high school level where they blow it dead. But this Green Forest offensive line not giving up, and the refs are giving them a chance to try and make a difference.
3rd down from the 2, 3rd and goal. And they'll hand it off this time round the edge. Nothing there. Nothing going there for Freddie Orez Jr. I'm sure if you're Coach Tibbett in this situation, you're leaving the offense out on the field to get 6.
I think you are. What's perplexing to me is you get down into the red zone, 1st and goal, and you do 4 straight run plays. Granted, that's what's been working for you, but you've seen some success in the passing game. Not exactly sure why you don't roll your quarterback out there and try and get 6 at some point. Looks like they might now, but
they're going to spread out the Pioneer defense. 4 receivers in the pattern. Fraga looking that way. And in and out of the hands. Great defense from the Pioneers. They will survive and keep the 0 up on the scoreboard. And will take over at their own 2-yard line.
And that's just a good stand from that Pioneers defense. Not even sure if the intended receiver, if he catches that, is in the end zone there. But a wonderful stop there after it looks like, as we're going to see it here, Fraga going to roll out. Yeah, he's not even in the end zone. Looks like that was Merida on the attempted catch, and just a solid stop for the Pioneer defense to get the ball back here.
Well, the clock will stop with 2:25. Do the Pioneers have enough time to go down the field? Of course, they get the ball started the second half, potentially get a 2-for-1 situation here, and trying to make this game a little bit out of reach.
2:25 and you're full complement of timeouts when you're running a spread-style offense is plenty of time. You want to get it out of your own end first.
When you say spread and, well, first play, Pioneers are up under center. It doesn't look like there was anything there. One of the Tigers, I think, players came out with the football, but I think it was well blown dead before that.
I think he was down well before, yeah. I agree with you. I think they're just trying to get out of the shadow of their own goal line, and then you really open up the playbook here. And they're also in no hurry. Because if you don't get it, you can just punt it away. And this offense of Green Forest we've seen is so methodical, they might not get a chance to score before half.
We go under 2 minutes, minute 50 or so left to go in the first half. It'll be Chris Bell and Zach Gunneman, man who scored the touchdown in the backfield. As Bell has to get rid of it, does. Finds a guy in a white jersey. That'll be Jonathan Quarter, who saves Bell's bacon there on that play. Nearly a safety.
That was just an impressive read. It looked like they brought a little bit of pressure from the Green Forest defense. And Bell is very lucky to not have a safety there. He had a receiver. It looked like just right out there, and a very solid throw just to not go down in your own end zone.
Well, it looks like we're going to have a timeout on the field from the home team, from the Green Forest Tigers. We will step away momentarily as well. 1:35 to go in the first half. Our score, Gentry 6, Green Forest nothing.
This broadcast of the Southern Sports Network is brought to you by Native Ink, providing custom products from athletic apparel, embroidery, and merchandising. Contact Native Ink at nativeinkpromos.com or at 918-693-1806.
The College of Business and Technology at Northeastern State University is where education meets industry. Our programs have real-world focus with practical workforce applications. Choose from degrees in accounting, information systems, healthcare.
Well, welcome back out of the timeout. Pioneers still in the shadow of their own goalposts here. Needing to pick up a first down, third down, and medium. Down the field, looks like about the same play there, Cannon, and same play, better result this time as Jonathan Quarter comes in with the reception.
Yeah, Quarter looking like the go-to for Chris Bell early. He's a solid receiver who's run some pretty good routes. You're going to see Green Forest bring a little bit of pressure there, and you're just going to roll Bell out and find his trusty receiver for a first down. And now, if you're Gentry, you have to talk amongst yourself.
Deep ball here for the Pioneers into a sea of hands as Bell took a risk there trying to find Quarter for a third time, and that one near a disaster for the Pioneers.
Yeah, when you're in control of the game, there's no reason to throw a ball up like that that's so you got such a high chance of being intercepted. Very lucky to see that fall to the ground, but you know, I understand Gentry wanted to pick up good chunks of yardage here, but you still got plenty of time with with 3 timeouts left. No reason to go all or nothing right there.
Well, second down and 10 after the long incompletion. As Bell going to move out to the edge, still looking down the field, makes a completion, and that'll be enough for a first down. That'll be Ty Hayes, his first completion on the evening.
And as a nice inverse with Isaiah Fraga, the Green Forest quarterback who's rolling out to run, Chris Bell is rolling out just to give his receivers time to develop their routes, and it's really working. That's the third or fourth time we've seen him get outside the pocket on purpose, and his receivers are able to get downfield and pick up big chunk yardage. We've seen 3 or 4 now completions over 10 or 15 yards.
Well, that'll be Ty Hayes' 10th reception on the season, averaging about 14.5 per reception. That was just about 14.5 on that reception.
He's a big playmaker. Then if he's averaging 14.5, that's a very impressive stat line right there. So now you're approaching you're almost in the midfield range. Not quite. You're still in your own numbers. 112 and all your timeouts left. You've still got plenty of time and a quarterback who can trust his receivers to get down the field quickly. I think your playbook's entirely open. Even the middle of the field's open right now if you're Gentry.
We'll see what head coach Justin Bigham draws up out of the stoppage. Bell taking a deep shot. That ball, let's see if he survived the ground. Yes, indeed. Great catch there. Oh, no, they're going to wave it off at the very end. Looked like it was a completion, but just couldn't survive the ground.
It kind of confused there because the ref did initially signal a catch. This is a great effort by Braden Warren and a great throw. He beat both of the defenders, got behind it. As you can see it, the ref just signals the ball hit the ground, no good. It's a good shot from Gentry right there. You've got a few plays you can mess around with, and now you can sort of try and pick up that first down, get close to the midfield, and ultimately get a shot at the end zone.
Bell going to scramble out of the pocket again. Can't make up his mind where he wants to go, and we'll just have to eat it there and expect a timeout here from Gentry. I don't think they're going to be content to let the play clock roll.
I guess if you're up on the road and you get the ball to start the second half and you're this far deep in your own territory, you just don't want to throw up an interception that could, give Green Forest any momentum or a scoring play.
Well, there comes the timeout from the Pioneers with 36 seconds left to go in the first half. 3rd down and 9. See what the Pioneers can draw up on the offensive side, and we can see what the Tigers can come up with on the other side of the football to get a stop and limit this to just a one-score game at the half.
It ultimately depends on what Gentry draws up here. I think Green Forest has played decent coverage, but you've seen a couple broken plays where Gentry have burned them in the secondary. If Gentry doesn't convert this, you probably are content to go into the half and just readjust. But we've seen Chris Bell with his ability to roll out and find his receivers downfield deep. If they can get another 10, 15 yards on this play here, I think you're still alive and well with all your timeouts left.
Both teams will break the huddle. 3rd down and 9, 36 seconds to go in the first half. Pioneers will operate with 3 receivers in the pattern, and big number 80, Garrison Jackson, working basically as an H-back on this play. And Bell will fake the screen. Actually, that's Ty Hayes in at quarterback. And he'll get downfield. First down. Flag will come in. This might be coming back, or we'll need to check the marker here, Ken.
That flag came in from the opposite side of the field. So let's see what they call here, because if it's holding, I think you probably just go to the half. But if it's on Green Forest, this is where it gets interesting.
We'll see what the call is.
Yeah, Green Forest is pointing towards Gentry. That's a holding.
Well, that'll back up the Pioneers. 30 seconds to go in the first half.
That should just about do it, I would think. You probably just take a knee or run the ball and go into halftime, unless you just want to take one good shot. And Ty Hayes still in a quarterback, it looks like, for Gentry.
Yeah, Ty Hayes last year for the Pioneers played a lot of quarterback, so definitely not unfamiliar to the position. And he'll keep it here on this 3rd down and 9. Looks like kind of similar play design, and this time he'll pick up a first down out of bounds and just into Tiger territory with 23 seconds to go.
I guess that's the ability Ty Hayes gives you, is he's got that speed that Chris Bell does, and Chris Bell may be the more sure passer, but Ty Hayes can run those options and just burn your defense.
And speaking of which, Ty Hayes stepped out of the game, and Bell comes back in.
And that 2-quarterback look, if you can use it effectively, it really confuses the defense quickly.
Pioneers going to have Garrison Jackson out in the formation in the interior. Actually, as I say that, he's going to work to the other side of your screen there. Big number 80. And Ty Hayes will also check back in, and he'll take Jackson's spot on the near side of the screen. 5 receivers in the formation. Bell firing across the middle. That ball picked off. Going the other way are the Tigers. Jason Lopez with the soft hands coming across the middle. As great show of athleticism there. 16 seconds to go in the half. Probably not quite enough time to do something, but maybe take a heave for the end zone.
Yeah, that's an impressive stand by their defense. That was Chris Bell's first interception on the season, so that's some momentum you can take into the halftime. Your defense has played well and allowed Gentry to score only 6 points. Now you have to adjust, knowing that they're going to get the ball to start the second half. Doesn't look like they're going to do anything too fancy here.
First down and 10. Tigers going to look to throw it themselves. That ball bounces up in the air. And we'll have back-to-back interceptions, I believe, as Zach Gunneman scored the touchdown on one side and comes away with the interception there.
And that's just a very curious call. There's a flag in the backfield.
And we'll see what the penalty marker is.
Could be roughing the passer, could be holding. It's in the spot of both of those. But a very curious call with Green Forest, not really a passing team. Why you start throwing it there with 15 seconds left in the half? Looks like they're going to back him up.
Potentially, no, it looks like the
Oh, yeah.
officials are going to walk this off. And
Not sure we ever got a call on that one from the White Hat.
hard to tell, but looks like this time with 9 seconds left, I think Coach Tibbett going to be all right just to hand this football off on the end around. And strong run there from Trevor Stark. And so get out of bounds with 2 seconds left to go.
Not sure you have the arm to really throw it here to the end zone, but if you're Fraga, maybe you roll out, give your receivers time, and throw it on the field. There's a timeout that's been called, so maybe they're going to look at drawing up a play that could get them in the end zone. With about 2 to 3 seconds left, this is sort of heave territory. There's not going to be another play barring a defensive penalty.
Yeah, 38 yards from pay dirt are the Tigers. While we have a break in the action, some scores up to update you on. Shiloh's gone up 21-7 over Prairie Grove in the second quarter, about half the way through that one. And Shiloh looking to pull away. Looks like they were the team that we might have thought they were.
Yeah, we were exactly who they thought, or they were exactly who we thought they were. That's my first pick to come in so far, looking strong thus far. But Shiloh, as we know, is probably the team that you're looking at beating in the 4A. That's the best team in that conference.
Important to note, during halftime, we'll have the Todd's Coffee Roastery halftime show. We'll get you some scores, some analysis of the first half here in Green Forest, as we've got a good one on tap here on the Southern Sports Network. And it's just a simple handoff, looking to be a pass. Tigers looking down the field. That'll be a pass interference.
That's absolutely PI.
Pass interference all day long there. Actually, well-thrown ball there by Trevor Stark. And actually, if he was looking, I think he had Freddie Juarez Jr. wide open on the boundary there.
It's a very curious, because it looks like Freddie was completely open, but now that you got a pass interference, you're going to get that much closer to the end zone with an untimed down. Very good, creative play call here from Green Forest.
Yeah, off or defensive pass interference will put this football down inside the Gentry 25-yard line. Much more manageable, I guess, spot to throw the football. One untimed down before we head to the locker rooms for the halftime. Green Forest will operate with 3 receivers to the near side of your screen here. Fraga looks that way. Heaving one. And that'll be harmlessly incomplete, and that'll do it for the first half of action here. The visiting Gentry Pioneers are up 6-0 over the home Green Forest Tigers in this great 4A1 conference clash that we have here for you on the Southern Sports Network. Don't go anywhere. Halftime report after these messages.
Today's game is brought to you in part by T-Lake Apparel Company, specializing in sport uniforms and accessories. Custom orders to fit your needs and budget. From youth leagues to professional sports, call T-Lake at 580-977-6452. And by Champion Custom Jewelry. Trust a company that can provide quality at a great look to fit your budget. Trust Champion Custom Jewelry. Contact them at 580-977-6452 or on Facebook at Champion Custom Jewelry.
The College of Liberal Arts at Northeastern State University is innovative, engaging, life-changing, empowering. Choose from undergraduate and graduate degrees in the arts and fine arts, languages, criminal justice, social work, and more. Be inspired at Northeastern State University.
Hey, Dean Blandino here. And guess what? Football season is right around the corner. And to watch the best live broadcasts in high school sports in Northeast Oklahoma, download the Southern Sports Network app. And check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I just did. Give them a like. It's the best broadcast in high school sports, and not just that area, in the country. Check them out.
A tradition of educational excellence, more than a century in the making, continues in Broken Arrow. Here, supportive faculty, in-demand undergraduate and graduate degrees, and affordable tuition make Northeastern State University your transfer destination. Finish what you started.
My name's Todd Harden, and I am Todd's Coffee. The reason I do this to begin with is because I really want people to experience coffee. What I'm doing and what other roasters are doing as well is, we're trying to figure out what the bean is trying to tell us. My goal and my customer really is there's probably 2 out of 10 people that could taste the difference in one of my better roasts versus an average roast. If I can make those people happy, I'm making everybody happy. And so that's kind of my philosophy when it comes to roasting. You can just go to toddscoffee.com. You can get a whole bean, or I'll grind it for you. Either way, there'll be a drop down in there that you can order it that way. So order some coffee.
We are computer science pros, chemists and lab technicians, health professionals, mathematicians, and science educators. We are the Greg Wadley College of Science and Health Professions at Northeastern State University. Choose from degrees in natural sciences, health and pre-health professions, mathematics and computer science, and more. Discover the possibilities at Northeastern State University.
Hi, Peyton Hillis here for Ozark Sports Supply and Casual Clothing. I've scored for the Hogs and for the NFL, but now my whole family has scored big finding this amazing store. Ozark Sportsman has everything a sportsman wants, the best firearm selection and gun safe choices anywhere in Northwest Arkansas, and a 15-lane indoor range and so much more. Ozark Outpost Clothing has all the hot boutique brands for women, and hey guys, our favorite brands also. Score big savings on top brands and follow me to Ozark Sports Supply and Casual Clothing.
A tradition of educational excellence, more than a century in the making, continues in Broken Arrow. Here, supportive faculty, in-demand undergraduate and graduate degrees, and affordable tuition make Northeastern State University your transfer destination. Finish what you started. At Northeastern State University in Muskogee, we take care of our students so they can take care of others. Choose from a variety of healthcare degrees, including physician assistant studies, nursing, occupational therapy, speech-language pathology, and more. Answer the call at Northeastern State University.
Well, welcome back here. It's a Tigers Stadium in Green Forest, Arkansas, as you see the Green Forest band out and about here tonight. Have some scores to update you on. We already talked about the Shiloh Prairie Grove score, 21-7. Big implications in the 4A1 as the seeding kind of continues to take shape here. Other scores to report: Springdale up 10-7 over Harbor in that big rivalry game. Of course, it's been one-sided as of late, and really as of always for Harbor. But if Springdale could pull out an upset victory, and I'm sure that does wonders for a new first-year head coach over there in Springdale, as they try to make some sense of the 7A West this year.
Yeah, the 7A West, as we know, is probably one of the most stacked divisions in all of Arkansas high school football. It's very competitive. You have, giants like Bentonville and Fayetteville in that one. Springdale Harbor's had a lot of success up there, and Springdale really hanging in there with them right now.
Another score to report to you, Cannon. We talked about this one back in the 4A1. The Huntsville Eagles are up 28-0 over Gravette right now.
Look, I'm not saying I'm going to go perfect on picks tonight, but so far so good there. I think I had Huntsville pregame tonight, and Gravette's just they're in a rebuild year. They're trying to really get their culture instilled, and they're really just trying to get their feet under them.
Yeah, that really makes things interesting here if, for instance, Green Forest can pull out the victory here tonight, and they have Gravette in a couple weeks on the Southern Sports Network as well, we'll make sure to tune in for that one. Who knows, that situation with a victory there for Green Forest as well puts them into a potential playoff position in the 4A1. First playoff appearance in a normal year in a very long time for the Tigers.
Yeah, this 4A is very interesting. You're looking at the standings, obviously, with a 6-0 game here tonight. If this score flips and Green Forest comes back and wins, that really throws everything out the window for the standings. But a lot to keep your eye on right now in the 4A.
Well, as the band continues to play here at Tiger Stadium in Green Forest, we will step away here on the Todd's Coffee Roasters halftime show. Our score still at halftime, Gentry 6, Green Forest nothing.
The College of Liberal Arts at Northeastern State University is innovative, engaging, life-changing, empowering. Choose from undergraduate and graduate degrees in the arts and fine arts, languages, criminal justice, social work, and more. Be inspired at Northeastern State University.
Today's game is brought to you in part by Todd's Coffee Roastery, creating flavors for the most sophisticated palates to the everyday coffee drinker. Contact Todd's Coffee Roastery at toddscoffee.com and use promo code SSN25 to receive a 25% off discount on your order.
Hello everyone, I'm Bob Stoops. I'd like to introduce you to Southern Sports Network as they will broadcast high school sports for Catoosa, Chickasaw, Bayan, Inola, and Green Forest. Download the SSN app and like them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And Boomer Sooner to everybody.
Well, welcome back here inside the booth at Tiger Stadium. A couple more scores to report for you, as having a little trouble, I think, getting some scores in, or just not a lot of scores to report at the moment. It looks like Bryant is up big on Little Rock Central, 35-0. Bryant, perennial powerhouse in 7A down there in the 7A Central. Whoever's coming out of the West is going to basically have to – the road's going to go through Bryant.
It's going to go through Bryant. Bryant's been the commanding leader of that division for a long time. They're undefeated in the state of Arkansas, I think, the last 2 or 3 seasons. They should be undefeated, period. They went down to Texas and fought toe-to-toe with a Texas Giant. They're just rocking and rolling right now in Bryant.
Yeah, some other scores. The Wampus Cats of Conway are up 28-7 over Cabot. That's another good central matchup that, year in and year out, those are some teams that are going to be in the playoffs. Conway, every year it seems like is in the playoffs in some capacity or another, playing a team up here from the Northwest Arkansas corner. Yeah,
Conway, you like to see out of them. They lost early in the season to Fayetteville, up in Fayetteville, and now they've really kind of regained their footing, playing good football and 3 touchdowns in the first half so far on a very good Cabot team. Conway could be a team to watch down the stretch.
And one last score to report. This one, I'm curious to get your thoughts on, Cannon. Bentonville West up 14-7 on Rogers. Now, Bentonville West has been talked about this year, and maybe not having the best of seasons. It's up to the Bentonville West standard. Or is Rogers just, kind of trending back up, maybe trying to catch, those Bentonville schools and the Fayetteville school?
I'm not totally sure which way I lean on that one. Bentonville West seems like they're always sort of in that middle of the pack sort of teams, and Rogers, both the Rogers schools for that matter, seem to be have been very down over the last 5-10 years. Could be that Rogers is just trending up. They've played good defense this season, and if they can sneak out a win against Bentonville West, a team that really is above them in the standings right now, you could see Rogers with a little bit of a resurrection in their program.
Yeah, a little bit of a resurrection. Here's still plenty of football left to play. We have about 9 minutes left in halftime. We will step away and bring you the second half after these messages.
Today's game is brought to you in part by T-Lake Apparel Company, specializing in sport uniforms and accessories, custom orders to fit your needs and budget. From youth leagues to professional sports, call T-Lake at 580-977-6452 and buy Champion Custom Jewelry. Trust a company that can provide quality at a great look to fit your budget. Trust Champion Custom Jewelry. Contact them at 580-977-6452 or on Facebook at Champion Custom Jewelry.
The College of Liberal Arts at Northeastern State University is innovative, engaging, life-changing, empowering. Choose from undergraduate and graduate degrees in the arts and fine arts, languages, criminal justice, social work, and more. Be inspired at Northeastern State University.
Hey, Dean Blandino here. And guess what? Football season is right around the corner. And to watch the best live broadcasts in high school sports in Northeast Oklahoma, download the Southern Sports Network app. And check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I just did. Give them a like. It's the best broadcast in high school sports, and not just that area, in the country. Check them out.
A tradition of educational excellence, more than a century in the making, continues in Broken Arrow. Here, supportive faculty, in-demand undergraduate and graduate degrees, and affordable tuition make Northeastern State University your transfer destination. Finish what you started.
My name's Todd Harden, and I am Todd's Coffee. The reason I do this to begin with is because I really want people to experience coffee. What I'm doing and what other roasters are doing as well is, we're trying to figure out what the bean is trying to tell us. My goal and my customer really is, there's probably 2 out of 10 people that could taste the difference in one of my better roasts versus an average roast. If I can make those people happy, I'm making everybody happy. And so that's kind of my philosophy when it comes to roasting. You can just go to toddscoffee.com. You can get a whole bean, or I'll grind it for you. Either way, there'll be a drop down in there that you can order it that way. So order some coffee.
We are computer science pros, chemists and lab technicians, health professionals, mathematicians, and science educators. We are the Greg Wadley College of Science and Health Professions at Northeastern State University. Choose from degrees in natural sciences, health and pre-health professions, mathematics and computer science, and more. Discover the possibilities at Northeastern State University.
Hi, Peyton Hillis here for Ozark Sports Supply and Casual Clothing. I've scored for the Hogs and for the NFL, but now my whole family has scored big finding this amazing store. Ozark Sportsman has everything a sportsman wants, the best firearm selection and gun safe choices anywhere in Northwest Arkansas, and a 15-lane indoor range and so much more. Ozark Outpost Clothing has all the hot boutique brands for women, and hey guys, our favorite brands also. Score big savings on top brands and follow me to Ozark Sports Supply and Casual Clothing.
A tradition of educational excellence, more than a century in the making, continues in Broken Arrow. Here, supportive faculty, in-demand undergraduate and graduate degrees, and affordable tuition make Northeastern State University your transfer destination. Finish what you started. At Northeastern State University in Muskogee, we take care of our students so they can take care of others. Choose from a variety of healthcare degrees, including physician assistant studies, nursing, occupational therapy, speech language pathology, and more. Answer the call at Northeastern State University.
Well, welcome back here to Green Forest. If you see there in your shot. Cannon, you know what that is? Well, those are Gentry fans there. But what that was a shot of over there in the far distance of Tiger Stadium Field here is a staple of Green Forest is the Tyson plant here in this nice town of Green Forest here in Carroll County. Now, what's interesting, we found out from Coach Tibbett back last week when we were talking with him, so that Tyson factory is actually the second largest Tyson factory, not just in the United States, but the entire world.
Behind only, I'm assuming, the headquarters up in Northwest Arkansas, correct?
I would imagine so.
So.
That would make sense. I mean, the campus that Tyson has in Springdale is quite massive. You actually went by it today to pick up some of the rest of our crew back on the way. So it's kind of a fun little connection here in Northwest Arkansas. It's interesting to see, you look around the stadium here and you can tell the Tyson family's commitment to football and athletics and just academics of Green Forest here in Carroll County and things like that.
And you love to see that. I mean, they're not only sponsoring this, but they're bringing jobs to the area. They're really sort of growing this local area and providing a means of making a living. It's a cool little thing to see in the background, and it's a nice backdrop for a fun 4A football game on this nice Friday night.
Yeah, and you can tell the growth is there. This is a town and a city that was a 3A school just a little bit ago. Made the transition up to 4A. While they're not necessarily the biggest 4A team in all of Arkansas, they're definitely well within the 4A range. And speaking of within the 4A range, I know we were talking about this earlier. Some readjustment is coming soon to the world of athletics here in the state of Arkansas, and specifically in this conference, there's some big movings going on. Prairie Grove will be going up to 5A before too long. Shiloh potentially going up to 5A as well. And I'm sure if you're the other 6 teams in this conference, you can't wait to get them out of the conference.
I can't agree more. Prairie Grove specifically, they've had a great run and they deserve to be in the 5A. Shiloh needs to be even higher maybe. When you're a private school and can do the things that they can do, not to mention on top of just being able to recruit, they've been a solid program from top to bottom for so long. They deserve to be playing a higher level of competition, and so does Prairie Grove. It's going to be interesting to see, is there a jitter there when they make the jump? Do they fit in right away? But it'll be fun to see, and I think that needs to be a more consistent thing, bringing schools up when they get too big and dropping schools down if if the level of competition is too much for them. Yeah. I like that idea in the state.
Yeah, and that's something even also within this conference that you've seen with Huntsville, with the Huntsville Eagles. On the last round of realignment, they were a 5A school and were just frankly getting their drum beat every week in and out against teams like Harrison and Alma each week in the 5A West. And now they're back down in 4A1. Last year made a playoff appearance. This year they're in competition for another playoff spot. It'll be interesting to see teams like that as they track throughout their growth as Northwest Arkansas really just continues to grow in general.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. When Northwest Arkansas's area just starts to expand, you're going to start seeing these schools get bigger and bigger. I mean, you and I are from the northwest portion of the state, the farthest northwest portion where the 7A reigns supreme. But what you're seeing around that area is so much growth that these teams around us, Prairie Grove and Farmington specifically, are really sort of growing and becoming bigger and better teams. But the state of Arkansas is getting better and more competitive at football every year, it seems like, and it's very exciting, and it's a very good time to be an Arkansas high school football fan.
Yeah, definitely. It's great to see the population of the state growing. Great to see schools up here growing as well. As looks like the clock is just about ready to hit zeros for the halftime intermission. It'll be interesting to see what adjustments both Coach Tippett and Coach Bigham on either sideline have made for both these teams. What are some things you saw from the first half that we'll see some changes in the second half for both sides?
So the funny thing is that when I watched the first half, there weren't many notes I had. I mean, specifically, you think about it, both teams are executing to the level of success they want to be. I mean, obviously, you didn't see Green Forest get in the end zone. They were close. I think Green Forest just needs to incorporate one or two more pass plays into their offense to keep this Gentry defense guessing. And for Gentry, play solid defense, know that your offense is going to do just enough. And I think your bread and butter is at running the ball, but we've seen some very impressive passes from their quarterback, number 5, Chris Bell. If you can keep him involved in the pass game and keep the offense moving and driving, they should have no problem, putting some points up on the board in the second half.
Well, and, we talked about this in the pregame show very briefly, but I really just take a moment to look at both of these coaches. Both our second-year coaches came in last year in literally probably the worst year you could ever come in as a first-year head coach with COVID and not knowing if we're playing high school football, not knowing, when we did find out if we're going to play, what the rules are going to be, who gets in the playoffs, how all that works, and both have navigated it. Granted, I would say Gentry might be set up a little bit better for success. They're the only team in the conference who has an indoor practice facility. They have a little bit of a larger size school. Green Forest, historically, since they've made that transition up to 4A, hasn't been great. But both these coaches have these teams, I think, on upward trajectories, Cannon.
Yeah, I mean, you make the point of they both came in the worst possible year, other than a pandemic and everything going on. They really, really nothing else going on. But they had that uncertainty, and they really rallied their teams around. You could see, both of the results. Green Forest obviously getting that playoff game at the end of the season last year and really competing with the big dogs. And Gentry off to their hot start this season. You can see both these teams have bought into the culture. Now, the offense and defensive playbooks may not be there yet, but we're seeing two teams that could really be vying for, those top 4 spots, top 5 spots come along. Gentry's already, in that contention right now. Green Forest, from what we've seen in the first half, not too far off there either. These are two really fun teams to watch. I think when you implement the entirety of the offensive playbook, and it seems like these players have bought into the culture a long time ago, these are going to be two very fun teams to watch, and not only that, two very tough outs come the second half of the season and playoff time.
Yeah, definitely the momentum is there for both teams. Gentry definitely has positioned themselves a little bit better, winning their non-conference games, taking care of those, going into the bye week, and winning the games that they need to, beating Huntsville, which both years that they've played Huntsville in this conference have been very close and very competitive, getting through Berryville, sustaining the run that they put on them last week. And it'll be interesting to see what they can do against the Tigers, who definitely have had opportunities to score the football here in the first half and will more than likely have opportunities again in the second half.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because Gentry, at this point on paper, is what you would consider a contender for, a champion in this conference. We're going to have to see it in the second half. They only had 6 points up on the board. Obviously, that botched snap on the PAT could have made it 7. Green Forest is hanging in there. It might not look like it. The numbers may not read it. They are hanging in there. They play their offensive style very slow and methodical, but they play it well. So, I mean, if you can mix in a few pass plays here and there, Green Forest has a very good shot in the second half here. And Gentry needs to not get caught looking in next week in that big matchup with Shiloh to make sure that they can finish this one out because they're in a pretty big dogfight here right now.
Well, and and I was just doing a little research here because I was really curious to know, just to talk about just really the great job. I mean, both coaches have done a great job. The wins have come earlier for head coach Justin Bigham, but head coach Justin Bigham, a young guy, comes in, offensive coordinator from Rogers, and I was just double-checking to make sure I knew this right. This is the first 5-0 start the Pioneers have had this century.
This century. 21 years. 21 years.
This is the first 5-0 start, and that's just sort of the culture and the change that you've seen head coach Justin Bigham bring in. I'm sure head coach Greg Tibbett also wants to instill some of that winning here in Green Forest. And importantly, his first season definitely didn't go necessarily the way he wanted to. A lot of learning, a lot of hard lumps as everybody looks like lined up ready to go. But since that win against Berryville at the end of the season last year, this team has looked different. Now, granted, the scores, Prairie Grove, Shiloh, take those off the board because those are teams, they're not quite to that level of competition yet.
You said Coach Bigham is from Rogers, correct, the offensive coordinator? What that does for you as the second half kicks off, Rogers has to learn to win different ways because they're not as big as the big boys in the 7A. Gentry is that program that's middle of the pack in the 4A. He can bring that mindset in that, hey, we might be an underdog, but we can play this style of football and win. And he's really got his players to buy in, not even 2 years in yet. It's very impressive.
Well, the opening kickoff there as we're back underway here at Tiger Stadium by Ty Hayes. Just to kind of put a bow on that point for you, Cannon. Last conference title for the Pioneers?
Before or after the mid-90s? When was it?
It would be 1990, I believe. 4 is the stat that I have was their last outright conference title. So that is, not necessarily maybe if you get by Shiloh next week, then it's definitely in the realm of possibility as the Pioneers will operate here on first down. And Ty Hayes is going to call his own number as he'll fight his way for a handful of yards here on first down.
So this is one of those things that we saw a little bit in the first half. Ty Hayes is, that QB2 for this Pioneer offense. I like the two quarterback look used to this effectiveness. Not Not a coach that's unsure, but a coach that knows he has two very talented quarterbacks in two different areas. And that's what he has. Chris Bell, very good passer. He can roll out. He can stand in the pocket. Then you have Ty Hayes. Maybe not the thrower that Chris Bell is, but he can run the ball for sure.
Well, this time will be a handoff for the Pioneers. In motion, the man, Dylan Jarnigan, will get the football there and make this a manageable 3rd down and short. Probably about 3rd down and 4. 3rd and 3 is what they'll mark him on the scoreboard here for the Pioneers.
I'll tell you this, too, because I'm sure that this is how they prepared for it this week. Green Forest had to prepare for that 2-quarterback look, and we've only seen it just come to fruition here. That's going to be hard to prepare for going forward.
Well, Ty Hayes, high snap for him, but he'll get one paw on it, and he'll pop through and get near the 1st down marker.
I think he got past that first.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to move the sticks. 1st down and 10 is Ty Hayes, not the biggest guy in the world.
No, he's not. He doesn't have the height, but what he doesn't have in height, he makes up for in speed. The kid is fast.
Well, Green Forest stacking the box here. Ty going to call his number once more, and he'll fight forward for another couple yards.
So this is what I'm starting to wonder, because I obviously don't know anything up from our position here. We saw Ty Hayes used on play here, maybe 2 or 3 there. Looks like this is his drive to start the second half. Are they trying to shake up the offense? Not exactly sure what's going on here, but
well, a throw out there, as we were talking about how Bell's really the throwing quarterback, and that time looks like Jarnigan there, number 3, let his quarterback down.
Yeah, it looked like it was a decent throw, too. It looked like it was sort of, where he should be able to catch that, but I'm not sure. Maybe they're just trying to mix up the offense entirely, as we haven't seen Chris Bell under center yet this half.
Well, 3rd down and 7 here, 10 minutes to go. This drive already run 2 minutes off the clock in the 3rd quarter. And this time Ty going to pull it in a great run here. Fights forward, 1st down. Great moves from Ty Hayes as he just continues to pound the football from the quarterback position.
So, what you see there is you see a quarterback who looks like he's stopped at 3 different positions. You see here, he gets the snap, and realistically there should have been 2 or 3 different points where that defense had him down. But, Ty Hayes is just very slippery and very fast. And now, after I've questioned it a couple of times, they've obviously heard my calls, and Chris Bell's back in at quarterback.
We'll see what Bell does here on 1st down and 10. Blitz might be coming from the Tigers. They operate with a 4-man front. A couple of linebackers in the middle of that field's wide open right here if Pioneers going to try and attack that there. Another high snap. That ball on the ground.
Think they got back on it?
Yeah, it looks like it. I think William Pyburn, the running back there, able to fall back on it near disaster on a drive that had gotten some momentum behind it. And a couple of high snaps here.
That's the second high snap we've seen on this drive, like you just said. The first one wasn't horrible because Ty Hayes was able to recover. Obviously, that was a run play, so Chris Bell's trying to recover it and get it into the belly of his running back. Got to get those snaps down to where they need to be.
Well, Bell checking in at the sideline. Going to audible out of whatever they had to start this play. And Bell missing a wide open Dylan Jarnigan there on the far side of the field, just going to call his own number. Tucked it run early.
I think that might have been a broken play there. I'm not exactly sure what he was looking for, but like you said, he had Jarnigan out on the near side and just didn't even look for him. Not exactly sure what that play call was, but it just looked like he was going to tuck it and try and salvage whatever he could.
Well, after the drive here for the Pioneers had some momentum behind it, kind of stalling out now, 3rd and 9. As Jake Bell's checked back into the game at quarterback. Not due to injury, just that's how they operate their system.
And you got Garrison Jackson right there, the big tight end, number 80, on the near side in the slot. Would be shocked if he doesn't get involved either on this play or soon.
Yeah, it looks like even if you look at the Tiger defense, they're shifting over to make sure that Jackson's covered. Looks like a screen pass, trying to get it set up here. And nothing there as Jake Bell will be brought down at the line of scrimmage. 4th down and 9 for the Gentry Pioneers.
I'm not exact. Maybe it's a miscommunication we've seen, but that looks like the second broken play in as many attempts. I'm not totally sure exactly what's going on there. I think it was a screen, like you said, and they may have just covered it well. But as we see, Bell just rolling out there, and the defense had him read as soon as he rolled out of the pocket. But now the question is, do your midfield, do you just go for it, or do you try and punt it away? We've seen Garrison Jackson, the tight end, drop back and punt it, and we might see that here.
Yeah,
it
looks
like we'll see.
The big target going to come in and punt the football as we near the 7-minute mark here in the third quarter. And the Tigers really a couple times here have gotten great pressure back. Is that ball going to roll and be dropped right at the 2-yard line? Great job on the punt coverage there by Braden Warren, running down the field as a gunner drops that thing right on basically the goal line of the Tigers.
Not exactly sure why Green Forest doesn't put a punt returner back there. I guess they want to bring all the pressure up front and not risk a fumble, which may be smart, but now you're starting in the shadow of your goal line.
Well, the Tigers had to wait a little while as the Pioneers ran 5 minutes off the game clock there on their first possession of the second half, but they will start over with a long field ahead of them. Both teams now have had the football down deep in their own opposition. And Green Forest just gets out of their own end zone there.
This is sort of a danger zone type situation when you're taking snaps 3-4 yards deep in your own end zone. Any sort of misplay or miscommunication like we've seen both teams have tonight, and that's a safety and really changes the complexity of this game. Don't expect them to get fancy here. They're just going to try and run the ball, I think, to get out of their own goal or out of their own end zone. That's offsides.
That'll be a free play. See what the Tigers can do with it.
It's not. They might have gotten him down in the end zone, but that's not going to stand, I don't think.
There comes the call.
That looked like it was offsides to me.
Well,
or encroachment, either one.
Well, it looks like they're not going to call it. And it will indeed be, I think, 2 points to the Pioneers. A little bit of confusion here, but interesting there. Yeah, I'd agree with you there.
That looks like it was a jump by one of the Gentry linemen. I'm not totally sure because I thought there was a penalty marker down or something, but
yeah,
I'm a little confused there.
Coach Tibbett is getting an explanation here on the near sideline from the side judge about what happened on that play, but I'd agree with you there, Ken. I don't.
It looked like encroachment or something.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting, and well, the points will stand from what it looks like. And just like that, the Pioneers will get the ball back on offense.
Well, I mean, the good news, I guess, if there's any for the Tigers on that possession, it goes from a one-possession game to a one-possession game. Now you just have to get the 2-point conversion. But, yeah, I guess we'll just go ahead and scrap that one and move on because I'm not exactly sure how they came to that call, but nonetheless, you need to stop on defense now.
Well, this is a couple of formations that you don't see or probably don't normally practice very often here in football. The safety free kick, which will be kicked off from the 20-yard line.
Yeah, and depending on the Gentry return, they're going to have very good starting field position.
Yeah, I mean, Ty Hayes is standing on his own 25. We'll see what Green Forest can do here. And good kick, got it out to about the 35. But the Pioneers will get right to midfield, and that'll be where their next drive starts over just about as a flag comes all the way from the other side of the field.
Flag came in from a different county, it looked like.
Yeah, that one came in from Madison County, the county down below us. Here is, don't want the official throwing out his arm. That was a great throw.
No eligibility left on him, but that is a solid throw.
That thing was screaming in. We'll see what the call is. But what I was going to say before the flag was thrown, this is about the field position where the Pioneers had the ball last anyway. A personal foul on the Pioneers will back them up 15 yards back into their own territory.
So after all that and the free kick after the safety it's going to end up being normal field position like a kickoff, basically. So they'll start at about the 35 instead of the 50.
Well, interesting thing to note here, Cannon. Ty Hayes coming out to start this drive at quarterback.
I like the two quarterback look. It keeps you guessing, and Ty Hayes is a very effective runner. If he can pass as well as he can run, you're in for some danger.
Well, he'll keep it here on 1st down and 10, looking to get the edge. 1st down and out to midfield goes Ty Hayes. We've seen it all night. Electric runner out of the quarterback position, and once again toasts the Green Forest defense for a nice pickup of about the penalty, basically, the 15 yards.
And you got to give credit to his line, to his offensive line there, because they get downfield and they get the nice blocks thrown. And Ty Hayes just enough speed, and he's small enough to get through a small hole and a very good 1st down run.
Well, back into Tiger territory goes Gentry. And this time it'll be a handoff for Pyburn. And Pyburn will fall forward, looks like for about 3 yards there on 1st down and 10.
So you hate making sweeping declarations about a game being over in the 3rd quarter. With what we've seen so far from the Tigers and Green Forest in their offense, if you let a score in here, you're in big trouble because they're bleeding clock, and if they get a score, it makes it a 2-possession game. You need a big stop here from your defense.
Well, another handoff to Pyburn. He'll be near the 1st down marker, fights for it. Looks like he'll get the 1st down. Looks like there's a Green Forest Tiger down on the back half of the play. We'll take another look at that great run by Pyburn.
This is a solid run. I mean, you automatically assume Hayes is going to run it, but you got a solid running back with Pyburn, and he gets a solid 10 yards here now.
It looks like nothing more than a cramp there for the injured Green Forest Tiger, but we were talking about with the way they're running the clock. They ran 5 minutes off the 3rd quarter clock before Green Forest got the ball. There's 5 minutes left to go in the quarter. I mean, if Gentry can continue to sustain the drive, continue to run the football, I kind of am inclined to agree with you a little bit as Gentry's just shortening the football game.
Yeah, and ultimately what you want to do. You're not, when you get to conference and you're playing teams that are likewise on the level of your talent, and I think these two teams are pretty similar as far as that goes. Now their philosophies are different. You can shorten a game and make it give your opposition of one possession, maybe. Then you have a good chance of winning, especially if you make it a 2-possession game going into the 4th quarter with an offense that's not proven to be able to move the ball.
We'll play on after the injury timeout. What's at stake here for the Pioneers is a 6-0 start, first ever 6-0 start if they can win tonight this century, basically since we were both born.
Yeah, last time that they were 6-0, we were not born, I don't think.
And another run by Pyburn, getting to the 2nd level, lowering his pads, and got a rugby scrum going on. And something also to note, if they can win tonight, if the Pioneers can hold on here with their 8-point lead, it will be only, I believe, the 4th time this century as well that the Pioneers have won more than 6 games.
So you're telling me they're on an upward trajectory?
I would say they're definitely on an upward trajectory. And it's high snap for Ty Hayes, but he can handle it, and he'll try to get out to the edge.
He is so slippery.
He's very slippery. Thought he was down there at the boundary, fights his way back, and just gets enough. We'll take another look at it here, Cannon.
I'll tell you what, Chris Bell's been fun to watch throw. Ty Hayes has been equally as fun just watching run in the backfield. Because, look, he should be down right there. He just keeps fighting, and, obviously doesn't gain many more yards. But he's a very elusive runner. It's a very, very impressive showing so far from the dual quarterbacks look.
And again, Pioneers just continue to run the clock in this ball game. Now under the 4-minute mark in the 3rd quarter. Going to move Garrison Jackson in motion. Had a quiet night tonight. As Pyburn takes it again in another 1st down. As Pioneers now inside the Tiger 30-yard line.
I mean, you're killing time like this, and if you bring your big tight end in motion, you think maybe you get a throw to him. But no, just going to run it down the throat. And I think that's probably why we're seeing more Ty Hayes here. They're up. They're, just trying to score again. You bring the dual-threat quarterback in, so they have to think just a second time, is it going to be the running back? Is it going to be the quarterback out of the backfield? just to keep that defense on their toes a little bit. But the way this is going, and they're taking 40 seconds in between plays, really killing some time on the clock.
Well, Pyburn going to get it here, and he'll pick up about 5. And they're now inside the Tiger 25-yard line.
They don't have to snap it until nearly 2.5 minutes left in the third quarter. I mean, this is just
a clinic.
It's a clinic on how to kill the clock.
Clinic on how to kill the clock, how to run the football here at the 4A1 level. As that ball going to pop out on the ground, we were singing their praises, and a little bit of the commentator's curse, I believe, there as that ball squirts out.
And now you're third down and I would say considerable distance, maybe 15 yards there. Do you stick with the look you got here? Do you bring Chris Bell back in to try and throw for the first down? What do you do? That's the big question.
Well, Ty Hayes looks like he's going to stay out on the field.
And
looks like he'll be flanked by number 9 there, Zach Gunneman.
Ty Hayes has been proven to be able to throw tonight.
He's had some nice throws, yeah.
You're going to roll him out, you'd think, or just run it.
Yeah, Ty Hayes trying to get out to the edge. That's where he likes to live, but big stop here for the Tigers there. That'll be number 24, Brian Soto, the senior, exuding some of that senior leadership. Makes this a long 4th down and 16 for the Pioneers.
So I guess if you're the Pioneers, you value clock running out over getting that first down, and I agree with that. Now the question is, you're very close for a punt. Like you're very close for a punt. So are you going to go for it, or are you going to just try and pooch kick it and down it inside the 5? Because this is a very, very short punt.
Ultimately, they won't have to worry about it until about 1.5 minutes left to go in the quarter. The Pioneers have had great time of possession here in quarter number 3. Hayes again at quarterback, and nearly fumbled the snap, fakes the end around, and Hayes will pick up about 8. As that one near disaster, looked like that might have been an attempted end around there to Dylan Jarnigan, number 3. We'll take another look at it here, Ken.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what you're going for here. You see the end around might have been on right there. But on the broken play, now you're just turning the ball back over. I guess you're basically saying, we don't think this Green Forest offense can do anything. We don't think they can move the ball. We don't think they can score on us. There are different things you can do. You can look for a pass interference call if you throw it down the field. You can just punt it and try and down it inside the 5. That's a curious call to me.
Well, second time this quarter, Tigers have had the ball. That one swatted up in the air. Great individual effort there. I believe that was number 74, Colton Whiteley, making the stop.
I don't mind rolling fragouts outside. He's had success outside of the pocket tonight. But he's got defensive linemen in his face that have 6 inches to a foot on him in height, and you're throwing right in their face. You're going to get it knocked down 9 times out of 10. So,
and importantly, it stops the clock. First time I think we've seen the game clock stop in quite some time in quarter number 3 is full house formation again here for the Green Forest Tigers. Going the end around once again, trying to get out to the edge. Great strong run. We've seen this about a handful of times there by Freddie Juarez Jr., just trying to fight out to the edge and make some plays in space against some smaller secondary players.
So whether he's in the backfield or he comes in from motion, Freddie Juarez Jr. has been one of the biggest bright spots for this for this Tigers offense. He's just a wrecking ball. He's got speed, he's got size, and he should be the go-to here, I think, when you get down to crunch time, because he's a good player. He's a great player.
Well, they'll hand it off to him again, Cannon, and eludes a couple tackles looking down the field. Got corners and safeties draped all over him. First down, Green Forest.
I mean, if you look at it here, this is incredible on this replay, because they're going to run essentially the same play again. And they're going to go to the same side, and he should have been tackled for a loss, but the man is a one-man wrecking crew and gains a much farther distance than he deserves there.
It'll be first down and 10 here for the Tigers as they break the huddle. 18 seconds to go in quarter number 3. It's flown by here tonight as another pass for the Tigers. That one going to be complete and out of bounds. And back into Pioneer territory for Trevor Stark on the completion.
So this is nothing fancy. You're just going to roll your quarterback out and see what you got on the boundary. This throw is either going to be completed or it's going to be thrown over his head for an incompletion. These are high percentage passes that they need to be making. and you've got Trevor Stark there, who's been the receiver, the go-to receiver when they pass. But these are the throws you have to be making to gain momentum, and they've been able to do that so far.
Well, Green Forest, that ball pop out. I believe that they're going to roll him down. So that ball popped out at the end there for Barrett Phillips, but it'll bring up a third down, and we'll call it about 2, maybe 1.
And that'll take us to the 4th, I believe. It will.
Well, both teams have pitched a shutout here in quarter number 3. Our score 8-0. Green Forest has the ball and a big third down conversion when the fourth quarter starts right after this.
This broadcast of the Southern Sports Network is brought to you by Native Ink, providing custom products from athletic apparel, embroidery, and merchandising. Contact Native Ink at nativeinkpromos.com or at 918-693-1806.
The College of Education at Northeastern State University prepares educators, mental health providers, and fitness or health professionals with undergraduate and graduate programs. Choose from degree.
Well, on the field, first down. Welcome in here for the start of the fourth quarter. Will be a first down as the Tiger offense keeps rolling.
So far what we've seen from this Green Forest offense is a team that looks completely different. They're not afraid to throw the ball, and they're running their high percentage plays, whether it's an end around to Freddie Juarez Jr. or whether it's Isaiah Fraga just rolling out for a pass like this one.
Fraga keeps his eyes downfield, going to plant his feet, throws the football, and trying to make the showstopper catch there. Joel Sagado just overthrows his man there. Seen that a couple of times tonight, and I guess that's what happens when you're a run-first offense.
When you're a run-first offense, and I think he had a little bit too much time to think about that there. You have 2 or 3 seconds, you can plant your feet, you get in your head, and ultimately that falls incomplete. But you got to really like what you're seeing out of this Tigers offense to start the fourth quarter. They're coming out swinging.
Only down 8 points. A score and a 2-point conversion makes this a whole new ball game. This will be a handoff on second down and 10. First and 10 on the way. There's Barrett Phillips. Answers the bell. Actually, no, they're going to mark him just a yard short. Second down and 1.
And so what I think you're seeing here now is that, this Pioneers defense might be a little tired. It's the fourth quarter of a brutal run-first game. And, the Tigers are exploiting that. They're getting runs, big runs for 9, 10, even more yardage than that. Really just chipping away.
Well, this time Tigers going to try and go to the edge. A little bit of an advantage there. First down again. Tigers on the prowl. Trevor Stark coming out of that full house formation. You saw the Pioneers brought a blitz up the middle. Tigers make them pay.
And so when you have speed like Trevor Stark, you could be a wideout receiver, you're going to beat most of the defenders right there. And all he needed to get was 1 yard on the outside. But once he gets there, if he can turn upfield, it's lights out. Thankfully, Pioneers for them had a couple defenders at home.
Low snap. Barrett takes it and met in the backfield there by a handful of Pioneers. Eduardo Galvan initiates the contact there and gets the Tigers off sequence.
And so now you're entering with 10 minutes left, and what we've seen Gentry be able to do with the football, where they can kill the clock, you're in 4-down territory now. I'm comfortable saying that. So, you don't have to get anything like huge back on this play, but you do need to get a chunk back.
And a pass. That one knocks around. Again, another deflection at the line of scrimmage. That time by 79 Logan Heath, the junior, gets his mitts up there, and that thing pinballs around off a couple of offensive linemen.
Yeah, the curious thing is with how short Fraga is, it's kind of hard because, once that defensive line gets in his face, he can't really get the ball over the top. You need to be rolling him out to a place where he's got some, open air in front of him and he can throw the ball. Of course, the Pioneers are doing a very good job containing him because we know he can run the ball effectively.
Yeah, we've seen it a couple times, and Coach Tibbett not happy with the formation on this crucial 3rd and 14 here. And if the Tigers trying to stay alive in this football game, just trying to answer the lone touchdown we've seen tonight.
Yeah, and I think at this point, with it being 4-down territory, you really you have to get everything right. Timeouts become less of a premium here rather than just getting it correct and not screwing up because, one bad play is an interception or a turnover on downs, and suddenly your offense does not get a chance again.
Well, I'll put you in the shoes of Coach Tibbett here. 3rd down and 14, realistically 2 plays to get the first down. Where you go here on 3rd down, then what's your follow-up play on 4th down if you don't get it?
So you're looking for, 3rd and 14-ish? You look for about 5 to 6 yards. If you can get more, that's great. I think you just go a high percentage throw, maybe outside of the boundary. You look for one of your sure-handed receivers, maybe a Trevor Stark. And then on 4th down, maybe try and get the defense to jump off sides and get a free play out of it. Or if not, you have to just roll out your quarterback and try and find someone open. But you got 2 plays here, definitely.
Well, they move out of the pocket, heaving one towards the end zone. Bunch of hand fighting. That one just going to be waved incomplete. I think good call there from the officials. Let the players play.
It's a good no call. So far this season, or so far tonight, we've seen a pretty solid outing from this official crew. What you're going to see here, you're just going to see a receiver and a defender going at it, and 9 times out of 10, if there's equal contact on both sides, the ref's going to let it slide. You don't want to see a game being decided by flags being thrown. But that's obviously where they were trying to go there. If not a catch, you were trying to get a flag.
Well, 10 minutes even on the game clock. All that's left in this football game. Been a great one, and then some, as Green Forest has 14 yards to keep the drive alive here. Scoops the snap, looking, and there's nobody in a red jersey over there, as the intended target looked like was number 21, Joel Salgado. And that'll be a turnover on downs for the Pioneers.
So turnover on downs doesn't absolutely kill you. You've got 2 timeouts left, and you've got 9:56 on the clock. The problem that you're facing now is this Pioneers offense has been brutal with clock management, and brutal not for them but for Green Forest. They have just taken 5, 6, 7, 8 minute chunks off this clock on drives. You've got to get a stop. Nobody can score. And you got to give your offense one more chance.
Yeah, time just evaporating here in this second half when the Pioneers have the football. And to no surprise, we're going to see Ty Hayes once again at quarterback. Fumbles the snap. And that's a great start if you're a Tiger fan trying to get back into this football game.
It's a solid start if you can put them behind schedule like that. Just looked like a bad snap. We've seen 3 or 4 of those tonight now. But, Ty Hayes did a very good job trying to handle those snaps. Let's see here. Hey, it was a good snap. Ty just couldn't get his hands on it. Maybe the moment's getting to him. Maybe he just wasn't ready. We may never know, but it's 2nd down and long now.
Yeah, actually, I believe, in looking at it a little closer, that 6 and that 5 look awfully similar. I believe that was actually number 5. Chris Bell had checked back into the football game. Our apologies to Ty. As Bell had a little trouble with that one, but there's the sure-handed Garrison Jackson. It takes about all 11 Tigers to bring him down.
And now what you want to do if you're the Pioneers is just try and keep that clock running. That's all you got to do. You're in a 3rd and manageable, and you've got your quarterback, like you mentioned, Chris Bell in there, the thrower of the 2. You can try and go beyond the sticks. I think you probably should here. You can look at a couple receivers that you've seen tonight. Your sure-handed ones are on the outside right now, and just try and make a play.
3rd down. Green Forest going to blitz here. Bell has some pressure. Able to stand in there. Fires one down the field. We'll need to see. Incomplete. 4th down and 10 here for the Pioneers as the Tiger defense once again stands tall.
And a very impressive stand from this Tigers defense. You're going to get the offense up back on the field. Probably, 60, 70 yards to go to score a touchdown if they punt it here. And the way that they're operating in the second half, there's a little bit more of a mix in there than they had in the first half with this Tigers offense. It'd be interesting to see what they dial up on the play calling here.
Well, Ty Hayes will check back into the football game. We'll see if Jackson comes over to punt this. Looks like he will. And this will actually be the first time, I think, tonight, Cannon, that we'll see somebody back deep to return for the Tigers.
And I think you got to do that because if they get a good punt off and it takes a roll for them, then this Tigers offense could be snapping the ball inside the 20.
Nearly
almost
blocked.
got it, but there's a flag.
They can't run into the kicker there.
Question is it running into or roughing the kicker?
Well, it'll be up to the officials, I guess, really to decide that one. If it's roughing, it'll be a first down. If it's running into, we'll play again, 4th down and 4. Let's see. White Hat going to make a call. Personal foul. Roughing the kicker. First down, Pioneers. Wow. Big call there in this moment. And I think it's a fair one.
It's a fair one, yeah.
And you just can't run into the kicker in that situation, especially when the leg is up like that. I'm sure.
You got to protect the defensive player, and you can do everything you can to try and block it. You just have to get out of the way. But he definitely did run into it. It's definitely a penalty. And now you're coming down to crunch time with 8.5 minutes. You got to get another stop. Your defense, who just thought they got off the field, is going to do it one more time.
And first down run here for the Pioneers. Pretty successful there by Zach Gunneman. Will get out across the 45 and make this about a 2nd down, and we'll call that about 4.
That's exactly where you want to be if you're the Pioneers. It's 2nd and short. The clock is running. You got 2 more plays to try and get a first down from there. Everything in the Pioneers' court right now.
Yeah, if they wanted to, they could snap this thing with about 7.5 minutes left to go in the ball game. And as you can see, Ty trying to pull some Tigers off sides. The blitz going to come, obviously, in this situation, as Gunneman will be stood up. Might actually lose a couple here on 2nd down, make this 3rd down and 6.
And they left about 20 seconds on that play clock. They could have run, 20 more seconds off here. Just a good read by the Tigers defense, bringing a little bit of pressure and get into the backfield quickly. That's your best hope here, because now you're in a 3rd and about 6 or 7. You got to get this stop, otherwise it's going to get very dire with the clock.
Yeah, Chris Bell checks back in, the throwing quarterback of the 2 between him and Ty Hayes.
You would expect him to maybe get a look where if I was the coach, I would give him a look where he rolls out to his more comfortable side. If he has something great, throw it. If he doesn't, go down or just take a quick run. Because the last thing you want to do is stop the clock here and give the ball back to the Tigers.
Well, it looks like Gentry going to let that thing run all the way down to 1 second on the play clock and call their first time out of the second half with 6:46 left to go in the ball game. Do or die here, really, for the Tigers. If they can get a stop here, potentially have enough time with the way their offense works, running the ball, to get back in this one.
Yeah, potentially enough time. That being said, you're going to have to start throwing the ball. I mean, you have enough time to operate out of your run-first offense. With 6:46 left in the game, you'll get the ball back probably inside your own 20 if you get the stop here. You're really going to have to start looking at some more passes and just getting everything involved, all of your big players involved on offense here, rather than just a run-first idea. First things first, they have to get a stop. We've seen the Pioneers, their ability to pass up and down the field at will if they want to. And Chris Bell's been nothing short of impressive with his arm tonight.
And, of course, a team that's 5-0 trying to go 6-0 has definitely had some luck on their side throughout the season, and they've had some luck tonight as just a delay here for Gunneman. Lots of green grass in front of him. Down the sideline, down to the 10. A flag will come in. I bet that'll potentially be a hold, as it's a receiver down there on a corner. That normally your receiver, not necessarily your best blocker on the team. An unnecessary holding call if it is one, but a great play design here by Justin Bigham and the Pioneers.
So he had me faked out in the booth. He had about everyone in the stadium faked out, but it's a great idea because Bell has been rolling out to his right all night, just handing off to your trusty running back. Question is, what's going to happen? It's a hold. It's a completely unnecessary hold there.
But it'll be
a first down.
It'll be a first down regardless, just from the spot of the foul at the 15.
And, to flip it into a bright side for the Pioneers, it's one more first down they can pick up before they score a touchdown. if they want to score a touchdown. I mean, you're at the point where you could run the clock down to just about nothing here. You got room for, about 2 more first downs, I guess?
That would be first down and 10 from the 27, so you can go 17 and then the 7. Yeah, so that would be another couple of conversions potentially for the Pioneers.
And a false start.
Yeah, I'll back up the Pioneers. A couple of penalties here, put them back outside their opposition's 30-yard line, but I'm sure probably if you're the coaching staff for Gentry, this isn't necessarily the end of the world. Gives you a little bit more room to work with, a little more space to run some clock and grind this thing out to the bitter finish.
Yeah, at this point, you want the clock running, and now you got more field to do it. Your playbook opens back up with all your pass plays if you want it. But now, ultimately, all you want to do is watch that clock wind.
Well, Bell checks the sideline for the play. 1st and 15 after the penalty. And Bell, tight end dump. Tight end's always open. Touchdown, Pioneers. We said he had a slow night tonight. Not anymore. Number 80, Garrison Jackson, sneaks away on the tight end dump, and tight end's always open on that play.
Hey, you are correct, my friend. You look here, it just looks like a run look from this Pioneers offense. Going to bring the ball back. Tight end always open across the middle. And tight end like Garrison Jackson, who has wide receiver speed and great hands like that, is not going anywhere besides the end zone for 6. And the Pioneers might have put this one to bed right there.
Well, we'll see what they can do on the extra point. Of course, missed the first one. Bad snap once again. As they're the kicker, number 8, Diego Saldana, able to fall on it, but PAT's had some issues tonight for the Pioneers.
Yeah, this is the second time we've seen just that bad snap. This time it gets away from the holder. And I don't know, at this level, special teams is one of those things that doesn't get a whole lot of love in practice, but should really have some focus on. Obviously, not that big of a deal. It is still is 14-0, as we had that safety earlier. So it brings essentially 2 PATs into the question. Well, now, if you're Green Forest, you've got to get out there quickly and you got to score quickly, and then hope your onside play is on point.
Well, score update before the kickoff here. Into the third quarter, Shiloh's leading 28-14 over Prairie Grove. Prairie Grove still trying to stay in that football game that's going on in Springdale tonight.
That game is a lot closer than I thought it would be at this point. Prairie Grove may have something to say about who the best team in the 4A is coming into the season.
Everybody's lined up here as it's a little bit of desperation time here for the Green Forest Tigers. Going to have to go fast now with the deficit being 2 touchdowns in this ball game.
Going to have to go fast and going to have to be able to throw, which is 2 things that they are not readily equipped to do. And the ball fell off the tee.
Hate it when that happens.
Yeah.
Well, the wind is, just looked over at the flagpole here.
It is
Tiger
gusting.
It's blowing straight out of the south, so I'm not surprised it did fall off. Finally tonight it's starting to feel a little bit like fall. Earlier today it was in the 90s.
It's cooled off nicely, though, for kickoff.
Kicks up and away as Phillips will return, trying to look to the other side of the field. And he'll get out to the 30-yard line. Great starting field position for the Tigers, as they'll have 70 yards between them and trying to make this back to a 1-score game as time not in their corner.
Time on their side, and they're not a readily equipped team to be able to throw deep passes. We've seen a couple instances where Frog has tried to throw the deep ball, and he's just not – his arm strength is not there just yet. So it'll be interesting to see what they draw up to try and gain chunk plays. But they've got to go quickly.
6:21 left in the ball game. Low snap. As Fraga going to keep his eyes downfield, gets rid of it into some traffic there, intended for Joel Salgado. But Bryson Walker, the senior, coming down there from his secondary position, breaks that one up for the Pioneers. 2nd down and 10.
The problem is it looked like the snap was low, obviously, but he's rolling out under his own choice, which is fine, but that takes away the offensive line protection and, more importantly, doesn't allow your receivers to develop their routes for as long as they usually would.
2nd down and 10 here. Fraga going the other way with it. This time completed, but I don't even think he got I don't think he got a yard on the play. And the clock will roll near the 6-minute mark here.
Got to be looking a little deeper at this point in the game. Got to be looking maybe for 10-yard plays, 15-yard plays, or anything they can do to just really try and get this ball downfield. They've got to essentially go almost 70 yards here, and if you're gaining 1 yard at a time, it's just not going to cut it, Steven.
Definitely not the chunks of yardage the Tigers want here. Another low snap. As Pioneers in the backfield already, and that one sails over the head of Joel Salgado again.
Looks like we might have a flag in the backfield as well.
We'll need to check the marker.
Not sure if it's holding or roughing the passer. Let's see what the wide hat tells us. Yep, maybe roughing the passer.
Well, that'll be a free 15 yards.
And a first down.
Yeah, and a first down. As the Pioneers, I guess, trying to make this one interesting, keep the drama in it.
Yeah, I didn't see where I was obviously looking downfield to his receiver. Didn't really see that play. This is one of the first roughing the passers I can remember, certainly tonight in the last few weeks in the games we've called. So, yeah, but it's a nice free 15 and a first down for this Green Forest offense.
Yeah, biggest play of the drive so far is this time handoff for Barrett Phillips. He's got to the 2nd level and then some into Pioneer territory, down to the 35. That's the sort of chunk plays that you need to see if you're a Green Forest fan.
So immediately at the 50, you're thinking maybe they take a shot. Let's go ahead and drop a few back. They're only rushing 3, and then boom, your star running back hits a big chunk for you, and suddenly you're in a position to maybe score and make this one interesting at the end.
Fraga will look to pass. Hits his intended target. Flag will come in.
That one in the middle of the field. Not totally sure what that is, but that might be holding.
Yeah, we'll need to check what the penalty is, but out on the outside, Trevor Stark, once again, with the completion, will be near the first down marker, but we'll see how the penalty alters this. Long conference here.
Got to get it right at this point.
It's a hold on Green Forest. They'll back him up and undo all that work there from Barrett Phillips.
More importantly, makes it about first in a country mile.
Yeah, taking this one from basically the Missouri border. 1st and 20 with 5:12 to go. Green Forest needs 14 points just to tie this game. As Fraga looking downfield in the flat. And that'll be about a pickup of another yard there by Isaac Merida.
And I understand you want to draw up plays for Fraga that are high percentage, but at this point when you're down 2 possessions under 5 minutes, you can't be throwing out to the near side down 14 for a yard. You've got to go deep. You've got to let your receivers get deep and develop their routes. Best case, they catch it. Worst case, maybe you get a flag for PI, but you got to let your receivers get deep.
Well, they'll do that here. Cannon taking a shot. And that one incomplete for Freddie Juarez Jr. And just like that, 3rd down 19. Ball game on the line here. 4:34 to go.
Next 2 plays, you got a chance. You got to get 19 yards. They've been proven to pick up chunk plays in a hurry. It just depends on what you want to draw up now.
Yeah, got to get basically 10 yards of play here if obviously 4-down situation. Tigers are going to operate with 3 receivers to the near side of the screen, 1 lone man to the other side. Taking a shot, and that ball nearly intercepted. As offense turned to defense there, Dawson Rayburn almost came away with another pick tonight. The second one would have been for the Pioneer defense, but now 4th down and 19.
Yeah, you got 3 receivers over there. I mean, you're putting it up for them to try and catch it. You're just giving it to the wrong team there. Good defense to just knock that one down and let your quarterback and your team fight another day. And now you draw up your best 4th and 19 play.
Don't think there's a lot of those in the playbook.
I've seen some 4th and 25s in history, but 4th and 19 is a long, long way to go.
Interesting formation here. Quick hitter, hook and ladder. As Pioneers not fooled there on the hook and ladder, and Navarre Perez won't get anything. And Pioneer football once again with 4:23. You really have to expect, I mean, Green Forest still has 2 timeouts allotted to them, but you have to really anticipate that this one, the way that the Pioneers have been able to just rip pieces of clock right off the scoreboard, it's not in their favor.
No, and you got to give credit to the Pioneers, to Gentry. I mean, this has been – it's not going to be the 56-0 lashing you're seeing in the 7A tonight, but it was an all-out domination, it felt like. The offense for Green Forest never really got itself established. The defense played well for the Pioneers, and their offense did just enough in their 2-quarterback set to make sure that they, held this lead. And now all they got to do is go 4 minutes, 23 seconds to go 6-0.
Well, the full house formation under center, you don't see this too often anymore. It goes back to the days of the 70s. As that'll be a solid pickup there on 1st down and 10 there for Jonathan Quarter. And I'll be surprised if they snap this ball with less than 10 seconds on the play clock, less than 5 seconds on the play clock, frankly.
Play clock just started. So you'll have to take it till about 3:25 left.
3:20, 3:25, I believe, is about the difference.
So theoretically, you get a stop here in Green Forest probably because of timeout. You get a 1st down, and it's pretty well over. But all credits right now to this Gentry team.
And again, looking like a service academy here. This time Tiger's going to sniff that one out from Quarter. And here comes a crucial 3rd and 4.
And the service academies run that formation because it's the most, it's the easiest, it's fewer mistakes. And now all you want is balls like you don't want anything. You've seen a few snaps go high or low. You don't want any chance that you just turn this ball over, give them any shot.
Well, interestingly, I'm looking over here at the scoreboard. Nobody started the play clock. It's looks like a bunch of time has run off of the clock before the play clock got rolling. As now there's about a 30-second difference. So it looks like this next snap would get taken at about the 2:30 mark. I know we've seen earlier in the ballgame where Gentry just let that thing run down to 0, took a timeout on a 3rd down play earlier. I doubt they want to do that here. Just happy to get the seconds off the game clock here. And again, they'll operate full house, go the other way this time, and they'll get the 1st down, and then some. Still running down the field. That's going to be number 9, Zach Gunnyman. Strong run, goes out of bounds though.
And see that formation that you see so commonly with Army, Navy, and Air Force. It's great, and it also gives your running backs a chance, and you got to make tackles there if you're Green Forest. But now you're open field, and Zach Gunneman, just a solid run. And now with that 1st down, they can all but take knees now.
And not to take anything away from Zach Gunneman, but I'm sure if you're head coach Justin Bigham, you want him to stay in bounds here. There's not. That's what your coach. You run to the boundary, but in this situation, you go out of bounds. Actually, they're going to run the clock here, but lucky that they didn't stop the clock in that situation.
Yeah, the clock should be stopped. I don't know. But, yeah, you should stay in bounds there if you're Gunneman. It's still a solid run. And now you can all but take knees. There's 8 seconds left on the play clock, 6 seconds.
Going to have to go quick here.
Quick
huddle. Just going to get it off here on 1st and 10 for the Pioneers. And still running will be Jonathan Quarter. He'll pick up a good chunk there, make it about 2nd and 3.
It's a very impressive showing. I mean, this is obviously not the formation they run every game, but they looked good, and there's going to be a flag thrown for – it was thrown about a mile in the air there. Can only assume it's getting a little chippy down on the field.
Yeah, and, hats off to Green Forest. You played really essentially the first half of your conference schedule. We've talked about it a few times tonight. Are really the 4 best teams in the conference.
That's brutal.
Prairie Grove, Shiloh, Gentry, Elkins. That's the murderer's row that they have to go through. And they've held one of the best teams in the conference after, getting taken to the barn last week by Shiloh, just to 14 points.
Their defense has adjusted well and has done a good job. Their offense never really got rolling. Not obviously they're going to get shut out, barring a miracle. There's things you can take away from this game. There's, you saw some of the short passes. You've got a quarterback who's very mobile. You've got a running game who won't quit. Your defense is solid. There's a ton you can be proud of going into this Elkins game next week, where you can look to get your first conference win. And this is still a team that, mind you, with 5 spots up for grabs, there's a chance they sneak into the playoffs at the end of the season. This is a gritty group of people, and they've bought in really well. This Green Forest team might fly under the radar for a while.
Yeah, the defense is definitely there, as we'll have a timeout taken by Green Forest. The defense is definitely there. The points will come. The offense will come. The defense is what, ultimately that's the saying. Defense wins championships.
Defense wins championships. Defense wins games. Defense was great tonight, all but a couple lapses. But, I mean, you expect that over the course of a game. If your offense can't give you anything, that's the hard part, because your defense can't. Well, it can score, but it's hard. So, you go back to the drawing board. You got your long weekend to watch some film. You get back in there on Monday for practice, and you try and figure out how to go in and beat Elkins, who's going to be one of those teams vying for a top 5, top 4 spot in the 4A, trying to go to the playoffs. But once you get through Elkins, the schedule's not a cupcake by any chance, but it's favorable.
Yeah,
you got chances.
It's definitely favorable. In 2 weeks, you have a winless Gravette coming to town. We'll have that game here on the Southern Sports Network. You have Huntsville left on the schedule. You have Berryville at the end of the season, the hated rival down the road in Carroll County. There are wins on the schedule still right in front of this Green Forest team. They have lots to hang their hats on, as the win won't come tonight. And Ty Hayes in a lot of trouble here, going the wrong way. It'll be a 4th down and a country mile, taking this 4th down play really just basically from Huntsville.
Yeah, this was not exactly sure why you're trying to throw it here. They're going to take a timeout regardless, and that's a long 3rd down to try to complete anyway. No reason to put your quarterback in harm's way in this late time in the game. Just go ahead and run the ball. But I think Green Forest is going to try and get the ball back and run a couple offensive plays here.
And that's what you want to see.
That's what you want to do.
You want to fight until the very bitter end, and I think Coach Tibbett is definitely teaching that in his players here in just his 2nd season. We were talking about this in preparation for this week. Looking at the 4A1, Coach Tibbett, Coach Bigham, 2nd-year coaches. Elkins has a 1st-year coach. Coach Williams at Huntsville is a 3rd-year coach. Kelby Bohannon at Gravette's a 3rd-year coach. And they're trying to – you can see that there's some young coaches in this league that are trying to change the way this conference plays football and change the face of it. And then you have on the other side, you have the Shiloh Christian Saints, who have Jeff Conaway, who's been there forever. And then you have out in Prairie Grove, you have Danny Absher, who's I don't know if he's ever not been there, really. One of the winningest coaches in Arkansas football history.
Very consistent in Prairie Grove, too. And the thing is you mentioned those 2 schools, the definition of consistency in the 4A, they're going to be gone in a year or 2. So these teams are vying for what's going to be the top 3-4 spots in this conference. And I think once you take Prairie Grove and Shiloh out of that, the separation's not that big. Gentry really making a case to be that best team when those 2 leave. But there's talent in this 4A.
Well, Chris Bell will try to throw something down the field on 4th and a mile. And it'll be incomplete. Turnover on downs. 55 seconds left. Crazier things, I guess, have happened. Green Forest does have the football with a chance to score.
So you get a busted play here if you're Green Forest and get a run to the house. And, like you said, crazier things have happened. We've seen it at this level. We've seen it at the pro level. But regardless now, you want to run a few plays with, I would call it less pressure. You want to get your quarterback a chance to complete a few passes and maybe get a chance to, gain some chunk yardage and take some positives going into film on Monday.
Farrago will move the pocket. Lots of green grass in front of him. He'll take that out of bounds. Picks up a good handful. And gets to the, looks like the 44, about a yard short of a 1st down.
And see, the thing is they're not bringing a whole lot of pressure. They're only rushing 3 with a couple linebackers right there. But Fraga, if you can get him out of the pocket, he's got speed. He's got outside boundary receiver speed. And that's your strength you build on right there. You get you work on the arm strength, but that speed is where you build from.
Well, Fraga will throw, and that one easily picked off there. That'll do it for the football game. That's going to be Dawson Ryburn. As a bunch of flags come in, I can't imagine that probably will be a crackback block there as Tigers slow to get up there. Rayburn finally gets his interception.
Yeah, that's just a quarterback trying to do too much. And let's see what the replay here is. Yeah, just got absolutely. It was a blindside block, it looks like. So we'll see. We'll get the call from the white hat and try and make this official.
Well, once the game ends here, Cannon, and the fans at home, make sure not to turn off. We'll have the Todd's Coffee Roastery post-game show. We'll hear from winning head coach Justin Bigham and our player of the game, which, Cannon, I'll let you announce who our player of the game will be tonight.
Well, there's a dual quarterback system that they have in place. You see Chris Bell as the great passer, but Ty Hayes has got to be the player of the game. I mean, they're running this dual threat run system in the backfield, and he is just evading defenders left and right. He was a very impressive player on the ground. Listed as a wide receiver officially, but came in and controlled the game very well and really calmed an offense down. It took a bunch of chunks off the clock. So Ty Hayes, our player of the game tonight.
Yeah, we'll hear from him, Coach Bigham, and have some final thoughts and scores here on the Todd's Coffee Roastery post-game show. Don't go anywhere after the final whistle here, as Pioneers need one more guy out on the field. But, yep, don't go anywhere. We'll have those interviews, wrap it up, and talk about where we'll be next week as the Pioneers will improve to 6-0 for the first time this century. Will be 6-0 on the season. Only the fourth time this century as well that they have had 6 wins in a season. A winning season guaranteed for the Gentry Pioneers. Second in 3 years. Great job on both sides.
It's a very impressive game tonight from Gentry. They controlled it from start to finish. 6-0 for the first time in our lifetime since the 90s. And now we're really going to see what this team is made of as they get the top dog in the 4A Shiloh next week.
Well, our final score here from Tiger Stadium, the Gentry Pioneers 14, Green Forest Tigers nothing. That's the final horn. We will step away momentarily. Don't go anywhere. We'll have an interview with Ty Hayes and head coach Justin Bigham when we return.
My name's Todd Harden, and I am Todd's Coffee. The reason I do this to begin with is because I really want people to experience coffee. What I'm doing and what other roasters are doing as well is, we're trying to figure out what the bean is trying to tell us. My goal and my customer really is there's probably 2 out of 10 people that could taste the difference in one of my better roasts versus an average roast. If I can make those people happy, I'm making everybody happy. And so that's kind of my philosophy when it comes to roasting. You can just go to toddscoffee.com. You can get a whole bean, or I'll grind it for you. Either way, there'll be a drop down in there that you can order it that way. So order some coffee.
A tradition of educational excellence, more than a century in the making, continues in Broken Arrow. Here, supportive faculty, in-demand undergraduate and graduate degrees, and affordable tuition make Northeastern State University your transfer destination. Finish what you started.
Hello everyone, I'm Bob Stoops. I'd like to introduce you to Southern Sports Network as they will broadcast high school sports for Catoosa, Chickasaw, Bayan, Inola, and Green Forest. Download the SSN app and like them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And Boomer Sooner to everybody.
At Northeastern State University in Muskogee, we take care of our students so they can take care of others. Choose from a variety of healthcare degrees, including physician assistant studies, nursing, occupational therapy, speech-language pathology, and more. Answer the call at Northeastern State University.
Having a body is tough. Exercising, sports, work, and life itself can leave you feeling tense at any age. The Trainer's Table is here for you. No appointments or memberships needed because you can't always plan ahead for when you're physically sore. The Trainer's Table. Let us stretch you.
The College of Education at Northeastern State University prepares educators, mental health providers, and fitness or health professionals with undergraduate and graduate programs. Choose from degrees in elementary, secondary education, special education, health and human performance, psychology, and more. Be ready from day one at Northeastern State University.
Some might say I'm an ideas guy. I'd like to think of myself more as a doer. I like to make things happen, both for myself and for the people my businesses serve. Signature Bank has been crucial in that for me, from starting my moving businesses to expanding into mobile minis, all the way to our current office and warehouse space. Signature has advised and supported me every step of the way.
The College of Business and Technology at Northeastern State University is where education meets industry. Our in-demand undergraduate and graduate programs have real-world focus with practical workforce applications. Choose from degrees in accounting, marketing, supply chain management, information systems, healthcare administration, data analytics, and more. Lead with experience from Northeastern State University.
Hi, Peyton Hillis here for Ozark Sports Supply and Casual Clothing. I've scored for the Hogs and for the NFL, but now my whole family has scored big finding this amazing store. Ozark Sportsman has everything a sportsman wants. The best firearm selection and gun safe choices anywhere in Northwest Arkansas. And a 15-lane indoor range and so much more. Ozark Outpost Clothing has all the hot boutique brands for women. And hey guys, our favorite brands also. Score big savings on top brands and follow me to Ozark Sports Supply and Casual Clothing.
The College of Liberal Arts at Northeastern State University is innovative, engaging, life-changing, empowering. Choose from undergraduate and graduate degrees in the arts and fine arts, languages, criminal justice, social work, and more. Be inspired at Northeastern State University.
This broadcast of the Southern Sports Network is brought to you by Native Ink, providing custom products from athletic apparel, embroidery, and merchandising. Contact Native Ink at nativeinkpromos.com or at 918-693-1806.
Hey, Dean Blandino here. And guess what? Football season is right around the corner. And to watch the best live broadcasts in high school sports in Northeast Oklahoma, download the Southern Sports Network app. And check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I just did. Give them a like. It's the best broadcast in high school sports, and not just that area, in the country. Check them out.
We are computer science pros, chemists and lab technicians, health professionals.
Well, welcome back here down at our tent here at Tiger Stadium. Our final score, Gentry 14, Green Forest nothing. I'm here with Ty Hayes, one of the two quarterbacks that the Gentry Pioneers like to use a lot. Ty, what was the defense out there showing you tonight?
They were pretty tough. We were, trying to hammer it down the middle, get some big bodies. They got some big boys too, but we just hit them a little bit harder.
I gotcha. So, we were talking a little bit before we came on air. This is the first 6-0 start since well before either one of us were born. What's that mean, to Gentry, to the community, and to the team?
It's real special. We all love each other real well, and our head coach over here, loves us real good. And we were trying real hard, and it just feels real good to have a good start of the season.
Gotcha. And lastly, before I let you go, next week Shiloh comes to town. You know, they're the defending 4A state champions. What sort of confidence is, you know, the start that you guys had of the season and being able to grind out a couple wins the last couple of weeks do for you guys for next week?
It boosts our confidence pretty good. You know, we're going in here, we got to try our best. You know, they got some big boys, they're pretty good, but we're pretty good too, so we go in there thinking we can win, and we can do it.
Gotcha. Well, this is Ty Hayes, number 6 for the Gentry Pioneers, our player of the game. We'll step away, and when we return, we'll have the head coach of the 6-0 team.
We are computer science pros, chemists and lab technicians, health professionals, mathematicians, and science educators. We are the Greg Wadley College of Science and Health Professions at Northeastern State University. Choose from degrees in natural sciences, health and pre-health professions, mathematics and computer science, and more. Discover the possibilities at Northeastern State University.
Well, welcome back here to the Todd's Coffee Roastery post-game show here in Green Forest, Arkansas. Alongside me, head coach of the winning team, the Gentry Pioneers, Justin Bigham. Justin, great job tonight. You guys come out 14-0 shutout. How do you feel this team answered after last week, letting 15 unanswered go in the second half against Berryville?
Right, I think our defense played outstanding. You know, our coaches do a great job putting a game plan together. Our kids are well prepared, and hats off to Green Forest. They've improved tremendously. They're doing a great job, and they got a really good football team. I'm just glad we were able to get out of that one. Proud of our defense, the way we played, and we just found a way to win on offense. So.
You know, we named Ty the player of the game. You know, he has another quarterback mate in the backfield there. What's the relationship, the dynamic between the two quarterbacks that you got?
Right, and actually we have 3. So Chris Bell, number 5, and then we have Ty Hayes, and then we also have a sophomore, Addie Taylor, who plays quite a bit as well. He got banged up a little bit, and so we try to hold him out as much as possible. We know we have a meet of our schedule coming up pretty soon, but those 3 guys, they know when it's their turn to make a play, they go make a play. And, all of them obviously want to be on the field. They all bring something a little bit different to the game, but we feel comfortable with all 3 of them. So it's nice to have a returning guy and then 2 guys that step up and want to play as well.
And, you talked about the meat of your schedule coming up. Let's take a look at, what you guys have done thus far. You're 6-0, first time you're 6-0. I don't really know necessarily what year it is, but I'm talking, before 2000 at least, only the 4th time you guys have won 6 games this century, 2nd winning season in 3 years. What does that mean, for the character of this program and kind of the direction that you're wanting to go?
Right, and the winning doesn't happen in the fall. It happened back in December. And we have kids that just put in the time. We expect a lot out of them, and I tell everybody it's probably the hardest class they take. We expect a lot of them. They get a lot of information, and they're expected to know it. We give them written tests all the time, but they made a decision. They wanted to set the foundation. And I think being 2 years into the system is really good for them. They know what I expect out of them. I know what I'm going to get most of the time, and just challenge them, and they've responded really well. Obviously, we're super excited with a 6-0 start, so you always try to win the game for sure. But as soon as this one's over, we enjoy it till about we get to the locker room, and then we start game planning for the next team. So we try not to look too much at our opponent, but we need to play as best we possibly can every single play, and then at the end of the game, we'll see what happens.
And you're talking about your next opponent. It doesn't get much bigger than Shiloh Christian in 4A, not just alone in the conference, but in the entire classification. Going into next week, they're coming to you guys' stadium, Pioneer Stadium. How are you feeling for next week?
Yeah, and we approach it just like we approach any game. So we don't put too much emphasis on it because we don't want the kids to think we can't play with them, because we can. When they want to, we can play with anybody, we feel like. Shiloh obviously is a great team. That's the gold standard in 4A. Every year they have a chance to win a state championship. They got a lot of kids back. They're coached really, really well, and they have a really good program. So we're excited to put our best effort out there, and we're looking for a good game, and we'll see what happens at the end of it.
Now, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. You don't have to give me a prediction or anything, but tomorrow, Rebels, Hogs,
Oh,
How you feeling?
Got to go with Rebels for sure,
Okay.
obviously.
I got you. Well, we'll see how that one goes tomorrow. Again, the winner tonight, 14-0, 6-0 on the season, headed in the right direction. Only a couple games left before the postseason comes. Congratulations, and I guess you can go be with your team.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll be right back on the Todd's Coffee Roasters post-game show. Wrap everything up. Ken will come back, and we'll get some final thoughts, and we'll be out of here.
This broadcast of the Southern Sports Network is brought to you by Native Ink, providing custom products from athletic apparel, embroidery, and merchandising. Contact Native Ink at nativeinkpromos.com or at 918-693-1806.
The College of Education at Northeastern State University prepares educators, mental health providers, and fitness or health professionals with undergraduate and graduate programs. Choose from degrees in elementary, secondary education, special education, health and human performance, psychology, and more. Be ready from day one at Northeastern State University.
We're live.
Well, technical difficulties have been the story of the night tonight. Canon is, communication, audio, you name it. We've had issues streaming. But teams that haven't had issues tonight, the Gentry Pioneers on this 100-yard field behind us have not had any issues. There were some scares. They sustained some runs from the Green Forest Tigers. But what are your final thoughts from tonight's game?
Gentry can play. I mean, the only thing that I had seen coming into tonight was on paper. Their statistics looked great. The two-quarterback system, and even three, as the head coach mentioned, on top of the defense that just had its way and the offense who can kill a clock like anybody else, if they can play up to that standard, then Shiloh could be in some trouble next week. I think the last I saw, Shiloh fairly comfortable against Prairie Grove right now, so the 4A not up in the balance right now, but Gentry could be that team on deck to challenge for that 4A.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about Green Forest tonight. They only lost by 14 points. It was a lot closer, I think, than the scoreboard led on tonight. They just couldn't quite get over the hump down inside the red area.
So this is a super weird game because it's not like you have a bunch of bad takes to take away if you're Green Forest. You'd like the passing game to develop a little bit more. We knew they're not a passing-heavy team, so that's not a huge issue. The running game, when it developed, was great. You just got to execute better. I mean, your offense has to get in the end zone for one. But the defense played up to par. I think that you saw some offensive efficiencies in some areas. Scoring has got to be the big thing going into next week.
Yeah, and talking about next week, we'll use some coach speak here. We'll turn the page on this one. It's in the books. Next week, we're back in Catoosa. We've seen some great games that have come down to the foot of Footy Yang as they take on the Oolaga Mustangs. Two teams in Oklahoma 4A, a little bit different than Arkansas 4A, as the only top four make the playoffs there. But both of those teams are looking to try and shoehorn their way into the postseason.
Yeah, Catoosa becoming our unofficial home of the season. Been there a few times, had a great time over there. But it's a fun matchup next week with Oolaga. I think I'm saying that right. Two teams that really are on the cusp of breaking through that top four. And if you get into the playoffs in Arkansas and Oklahoma, anywhere, and you have the momentum on your side, you can make some noise. We've seen two very close games over there, and I don't expect it to be any different next week. Whoever has the ball last will probably win it. And if you got Footy Yang on your sideline like Catoosa does and the special teams on your side, it's hard to bet against them in a one-possession game.
Yeah, and, we'll see how that one pans out next week. Sure to be a great one between the Oolaga Mustangs and the Catoosa Indians. And then we'll go, just since we're in Green Forest, we'll go to the week after that. We're back here in Green Forest, back at Tiger Stadium, and the Lions come into town, so it'll be Lions and Tigers, no Bears. Oh, my. But the Lions come into town. We saw them earlier in the year. I don't know the score of the Huntsville Gravette game right now. Last time we checked, Huntsville had it in hand. These are two teams that will probably be winless in conference competition. Don't want to speculate on the Green Forest Elkins game next week. But if they are, how big is a conference win for either of these teams in a couple weeks?
Well, it's big. And, it's hard to take too many takeaways from – you think about we saw Gravette week 0 against a very good Viant team. That's hard to take away from to where we are now. What we saw with Green Forest tonight, a lot of positives. The defense was fantastic. And if that offense can get rolling like we know they can, it's going to be tough for Gravette to stop them. We saw a few positives, but Gravette ended up getting shut out week 0. That's a team that you think 2 years down the road they might be in contention. Green Forest can be. That's where they get their season on track if they don't beat Elkins next week. That is the chance for them to get in the playoffs. But overall, a fun game, and it was a fun environment tonight. I don't expect anything different.
And if you're a Green Forest fan tonight, I think you go away feeling kind of a little bit optimistic. You held one of the better teams in this conference to 14 points. A team last year, I believe, won 35-14. You come in, you limit them to 2 scores. Really, you have some chances in this game. It goes the other way. Who knows? You come out of here with a win, or at least it makes it a one-possession ball game at the end where Green Forest can maybe make some noise. You look at the other side for Gravette. It's not. I don't think, based on how it's going against the game in Huntsville right now, I don't think the optimism is quite there at this point in the season.
No, and the thing is that what we saw from that program in week 0 was an optimistic team full of very talented young kids who can produce a win here and there. And I think if you look at them, like I said, in 2 years, they're going to be miles ahead. They have a very good young core there. That's what we mentioned in week 0. That's a young core. Competing with the big dogs of the 4A this season, I don't think it's there. It's tough, but I don't think it's there this season.
Yeah, Green Forest, a team in the ascendancy, definitely no longer, the laughingstock, the cellar dweller of this conference. I think, I think we can both soundly agree that Green Forest is going to make some noise later on this season. They'll surprise some people. I wouldn't be surprised to see them as that 5 seed. I mean, the way it's looking, it might be a Huntsville Green Forest situation because I don't know how much Berryville has at the moment. First-year head coach there, Coach Hudson, trying to instill his program. Gravette has seen some issues. They're going to take a lot of lumps this year, unfortunately, because of how young they are. But like you said, a couple years down the road, they could be a team to watch out for, especially when Prairie Grove and Shiloh are no longer in this conference. But Green Forest, you guys could be going dancing in the middle of November if a couple things go the right way. You get in the win column and see what can happen. It's a new season when you get to the postseason.
And I think the mention of Shiloh and Prairie Grove getting out of here is big because it's Prairie Grove and Shiloh. We both agree on that. Our producer Adam just got in my ear. 42-14, Shiloh won tonight. So that's a big
That's
win.
the gap. That's the gap.
That's the gap. 1 and 2 is clearly has differentiated themselves, and that's the gap between 1 and 2. It is a very big gap. The road's going to run through Springdale and Shiloh, but I think that both teams that we saw back here, Green Forest, if they have to go there week 1 or whatever of the playoffs, or if you see a Gentry down the road in the playoffs, I'd be scared if I was Shiloh.
Yeah, both these teams, specifically with Gentry, we'll talk about them just because they're 6-0, more likely going to probably get a home playoff game the way the rest of their season goes. But they use a brand of football that when it comes to the cold months in November, you don't want to tackle anybody when somebody's running at you.
No, I mean Gentry ran a good mix of offense tonight. You saw, obviously the old military academy style offense at the end. That's not what they run. They're a good spread team, but they start with running the ball and they're physical. And when it's 20 degrees, 10 degrees outside in Arkansas, it gets cold here. When it gets cold here, you don't want to be tackling some of these big running backs or tight ends or anyone. This Gentry team could